Good morning. How are we all? I am Chris, and I am here with The Hobbit, the Motion Picture Trilogy Quiz. By I hopefully want to say popular demand. Of course, I did my Lord of the Rings one probably a couple of months ago now. We're moving on to The Hobbit today, and this is going to be the last video of the year. I am going to be out of action for the next 2 days. Well, if I'm feeling well. As you can probably tell from my less than savory appearance today, I am unfortunately sick. I've decided to go down with a cold today. Sort of midway through today, it hit, as you can see. So I do apologize for this, but I think that for the most part of this, the questions will be on screen, so you won't have to look at this. But I will be away for the next 2 days, so I guess this is kind of our New Year's Eve special, New Year's Eve, if you will. But I definitely did want to do another quiz. The Lord of the Rings one was so much fun to do. Unfortunately, I'm not joined with Everything in Middle-earth today to help me host this thing. I guess he's just busy or something like that, but hopefully I can get him on another video sometime soon. So you've got me today, but I will be your host. I will be your quiz master. And once again, if you tuned in for the Lord of the Rings one, if you haven't, I do recommend checking that out too. Not right now. Stick with me for The Hobbit. It's going to be 6 rounds. There's 10 questions per round, 6 rounds of very challenging questions. With the Lord of the Rings, and the same goes for this one, I want to make a quiz that I would want to take part in. I want to be tested. I want it to be really challenging. And hopefully I've crafted a quiz today that might even be more challenging than the Lord of the Rings one. So it is all to play for. We'll give people a few more minutes to jump in. Hopefully we get more of a crowd. Pretty much like Peter Jackson with the Hobbit films, today has been down to the wire. I was debating whether I was going to do a quiz today or if I wanted to wait and do it in the new year. I kind of had most of the questions penned, but there were a few ones that I hadn't written down. And actually, I can see him in the chat right now. I do want to give a massive thank you, a massive shout out to JX Editor, who has helped me with a few of these questions when I've been stressing and just pouring through the movies, trying to get questions. It's tough. The movies were spread very thin. And I feel like in many ways, my questions in some respects might also be the same. There's definitely a different quality to the questions based on the Lord of the Rings one, shall we say. But hopefully I've come up with some good questions for you across the entire Hobbit trilogy, of course, Unexpected Journey, Desolation of Smaug, and Battle of the Five Armies. The 6 rounds come into it exactly like the Lord of the Rings, how there's a disc break, like an intermission between, splitting each film in half. So you'll get 2 rounds on Unexpected Journey, 2 on Desolation of Smaug, and we're going to finish with 2 on Battle of the Five Armies. So hopefully you've watched the films. Hopefully you've been brushing up on your Tolkien knowledge. And I do want to stress as well, chief among them for the Hobbit, these questions are based on the Hobbit films, not the Hobbit book. There were a number of changes that Peter Jackson and co. decided to make between the Hobbit book and the films. And there are some questions in this list where the book answer would be a totally different answer to what I've got down for the movies. So we are going by purely just the movies on this one. I do want to stress that. We've got Lord Oakenshield in the comments. It says, "Hi, Chris. Do you mean to wish me a good morning? I'm aware it isn't morning, but if someone's tuning in overseas or something, or the other side of the world, who knows, maybe it's morning for them. So it carries. And you guys are carrying on the quote. That's amazing. Before we get underway, let's do the housekeeping first. Please do consider subscribing to the channel for more movie reviews, discussions, and live streams. We are finishing 2022 very shortly, which has been an absolute dire year for films, I must admit. Definitely one of the worst in waking memory, I think. But let's see what 2023 holds. There's going to be a lot of movies, and obviously we're going to be ramping up towards the Oscar season as well. So I'm going to be seeing a lot of films. I'm probably going to be covering the Oscars again, I would imagine. I don't know yet, but I probably will be. For more information on that and videos I've got coming out, give me a follow on Twitter as well. You can follow me at Hobbit Fan Editor. Like today, this video was very spur of the moment. I woke up today and thought, do I want to do a quiz today or not? And I chose to. So obviously follow me on there. You'll get all the updates of when I'm going live with everything. And I am going to bring this up periodically because we did have a few people doing this last time. I've got a banner for it. Please don't type your answers in the live chat. I want you to be able to play this at home, write your answers down, type them up, whatever you got to do, whether you're playing you know, if you're doing the quiz solo, if you've got a team together, if you've got a group or whatever, please don't type answers in the live chat. If you want to type a joke answer, then I'm all for that. I love joke answers. It's great. So please do send in like absolutely ridiculous answers to the questions in the live chat. But for actual answers, keep them to yourselves, because you don't want people to cheat. You don't want someone else to get a leg up on the competition. You know, this is very competitive, and there is a leaderboard at the end of the quiz as well. So yeah, I'm very curious to see how people are going to do on this. With all that being said, I think we should just dive into it, don't you? So let's kick off with... Hopefully the graphic should come up in a second. There is a bit of lag. There we go. The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey, Part 1. So this is based on the first disc, obviously, of The Unexpected Journey. Total marks for this first round are 23. So there's a lot of marks on this one. So this could be make or break, even from the off. So, question 1. What is the name of Bilbo Baggins' mother? So that's question 1. What is the name of Bilbo Baggins' mother? All of these are mentioned in the film, by the way. There are no trick questions in this. So all the answers are within the movies. Okay, give you guys a few more seconds on that one. I think that's probably a challenging one, actually, for some, right out of the gate. Okay, question 2. Now, I'm going to give you a while on this one. You guys knew it was coming. I had to. Question 2. What are the names of the 13 dwarves? Now, for this one, you get a point per dwarf that you can name. So just go for it. You know, sleepy, dopey, bashful, whatever you got, write it down. What are the names? This is question 2. What are the names of the 13 dwarves? And there's a little bit of a visual aid there, although I couldn't get them all in. We've got a quick comment here. Lord Oakenshield says, An Unexpected Journey is the best of the 3 films, by the way. I completely agree. It's definitely the one that's closest to the book and feels like it captures the spirit of the book more accurately than the next 2. I remember seeing that film for the first time. I guess we can talk about it as well. It's been the 10th year anniversary, which makes me feel very old, of Unexpected Journey this December. And yeah, whilst I didn't love it as much as The Lord of the Rings, I still came out of that film opening night very, very satisfied and excited to see where it would go. Once again, if anyone, I see that we've got a few more people tuning in now. Please do not type answers in the live chat. I'm going to bring this up periodically throughout round 1, then hopefully people get the idea. Just joke answers in the live chat. So give people a few more minutes on that one. What are the names of the 13 dwarves? This is a big question, this one. We've got JX, who says Peter Dinklage, Warwick Davis, Kenny Baker, and Billy Connolly. You just know that a bunch of people out there are just like hastily scribbling out answers right now. Okay, well, we'll come back to these. I'll go over the questions again. I'll repeat them a second time for people who are just late to the stream. So let's move on for now. So we've got question 3. At which battle did Bulruratuk knock the Goblin King's head off? That's question 3. At which battle did Bulruratuk knock the Goblin King's head off? And invented the game of golf at the same time. So I realise this is going to be a slight ASMR experience right now, because I am sipping on a Lemsip to try and keep me standing, try and keep me going through this stream. Yeah, hopefully I hang in there. Okay, let's move on. Question 4. On Bilbo's fair share of walking holidays, which village does he say he once got as far as? That's question 4. On Bilbo's fair share of walking holidays, which village does he say he once got as far as? Look at that crazy look in that pony's eye. I mean, that pony just looks like it straight up huffed a line of cocaine right there. So we've had some joke answers for the previous question. These aren't the joke answers for this question. Stalingrad and the storming of Normandy. I'd love to see that. Question 5. 2 points for this one. What are the names of the 2 ponies that Bilbo sees Bert Troll carrying away? So 2 points up for grabs. What are the names of the 2 ponies that Bilbo sees Bert Troll carrying away? How are we all doing? I'm curious to know. We'll get through round 1 and round 2. I'll be interested to know if people think this is more challenging than the Lord of the Rings one. But I'm just assuming everyone's concentrating really hard right now, trying to remember the movies. Okay, let's move on to question 6. In which ancient city does Gandalf say the blades uncovered in the troll hoard were forged in? I'm going to say that again. There's a lot in that question. In which ancient city does Gandalf say the blades uncovered in the troll hoard were forged in? JX says Chicago. Chicago make the finest blades. Okay, let's move on then. Question 7. What is the name of the primordial creature that Radagast believes the spiders of Mirkwood are a spawn of? Now, if you guys have followed the channel for a while, my Lord of the Rings content, you know that this is a fan favorite of mine. I'm going to read that again. Question 7. What is the name of the primordial creature that Radagast believes the spiders of Mirkwood are a spawn of? You Silmarillion fans are just lapping this up right now. But this answer isn't just from the Silmarillion. He does actually say it in the film. And I had to jump at the chance to put this question in the quiz. It's my one chance to do it. So JX says Donald Trump. Yeah. Okay. I think I've left you long enough on that one. Oh, Queen Elizabeth II. Oh, yeah, mate. No, I think you're totally right there, actually. Question 8. I'm feeling the Radagast love on this one. Where are Radagast's rabbits from that he says are fast enough to outrun wargs? That's question 8. Where are Radagast's rabbits from that he says are fast enough to outrun wargs? It's probably one of my least favorite additions in the movies, is that entire sequence. And Radagast knows it. Look at him just looking over his shoulder, just smirking. Just turning towards the camera saying it's free real estate. Yeah, there's... I don't want to turn this into like a Hobbit hating stream, but it might come up at some points. There are a certain caliber of questions, especially when we get to Battle of the Five Armies, where it was a stretch. You know, you've got 20 minutes of they fight, and I was thinking, how the hell can I come up with questions for this? But hopefully I've done okay. Okay, let's move on. So question 9, when it decides to load. There we go. Question 9. What is the Sindarin name for Rivendell? That's question 9. What is the Sindarin name for Rivendell? I'm also hoping... I'm being very critical of my pictures right now. I've, like the Hobbit films, Peter Jackson kind of, having to make them as he goes along, really rushed for time. I feel like I've also emulated that today with this. As I mentioned, this was a very last-minute thing, and I have been editing pretty much today about 11 hours straight, trying to get all of these pictures done, and the videos and everything. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the quiz. So please do let me know as we go through. But not yet. You've got to be writing your answers down first. Okay. Sorry, we've had we've got Adam Lodge in the comments says Slough. That's brilliant. Oh, okay. Question 10. So this is the final question of part 1. I will go back through all the questions again. Don't worry, in case you missed any. So question 10. Wow, this is really lagging tonight. There we go. Nearly how many years ago does Elrond say the moon runes were written? That's question 10. Nearly how many years ago does Elrond say the moon runes were written? Lord Oakenshield says, the biggest flaw of the Hobbit trilogy is the writing, in my opinion. Then the fact he used too much CGI. The CGI is definitely up there for me. I actually think that Unexpected Journey still was very CGI heavy, but it definitely had a better balance. And I'm just assuming. I spoke to Jed Brophy at Comic-Con not too long ago, and we were talking about the Hobbit films and their impact or lack thereof. And he mentioned that it was a studio decision to do it all in CGI. Peter Jackson just had no time to film it all practically, and they had to do it all in computer. So, yeah, it's just a shame. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. So I'll repeat these questions a second time. And then I'll move on to round 2. And then we'll come back to the answers for both of the parts of Unexpected Journey. I think that's probably the best way to do it. So I'll go through part 1 again. We'll move straight on to part 2, and then we'll cycle back and I'll give you the answers for Unexpected Journey. Okay, so recapping. Really quick on this one. Question 1. What is the name of Bilbo Baggins' mother? Hey, yo, mama. What is the name of Bilbo Baggins' mother? Question 2. I'm going to give you a little bit longer on this one if you guys need it. Question 2, what are the names of the 13 dwarves? Question 2, what are the names of the 13 dwarves? Okay, I'm going to move on, but if you guys need me to come back to any questions, do let me know. Question 3, at which battle did Bulrora knock the Goblin King's head off? That was question 3. At which battle did Bulrora knock the Goblin King's head off? There's no way to treat David Bowie. Question 4. On Bilbo's fair share of walking holidays, which village does he say he once got as far as? Question 4. On Bilbo's fair share of walking holidays, which village does he say he once got as far of? And I honestly just can't stop staring that horse in the eye. That is some crazy shit. I feel like I need some game show music or something in the background just to fill the void a little bit. But hopefully my dulcet tones will do just the same. Question 5. What are the names of the 2 ponies that Bilbo sees Bert Troll carrying away? Question 5. What are the names of the 2 ponies that Bilbo sees Bert Troll carrying away? And there's 2 points for that one, if you can get both of the names. Question 6. In which ancient city does Gandalf say the blades uncovered in the Troll Hoard were forged in? Question 6. In which ancient city does Gandalf say the blades uncovered in the Troll Hoard were forged in? Question 7. What is the name of the primordial creature that Radagast believes the spiders of Mirkwood are a spawn of? Question 7. What is the name of the primordial creature that Radagast believes the spiders of Mirkwood are a spawn of? Oh my god, Lord Oakenshield, that is a deep cut reference there, my friend. That is a blast from the past. Used to love Weeble stuff. Question 8. Where are Radagast's rabbits from that he says are fast enough to outrun wargs? Oh, that feels like a tongue twister. I'm going to say that again. Question 8. Where are Radagast's rabbits from that he says are fast enough to outrun wargs? Question 9. What is the Sindarin name for Rivendell? That's question 9. What is the Sindarin name for Rivendell? And to cap off part 1, nearly how many years ago does Elrond say the moon runes were written? So that's question 10. Nearly how many years ago does Elrond say the moon runes were written? Okay, and back to my lovely face. So let me know how you guys think you did. Do you think the questions are particularly challenging? They will get more challenging. Trust me, this is very much the warm-up. As I said, it's all still to play for. It's only round one, and we've got another half of unexpected journey to do in a second. I'm going to take a sip. Loose lips sink ships. There we go. One thing I do want to ask you guys as well, if you do enjoy the quiz, please do hit the like button as well, because I think it just makes the live stream more accessible to people. I don't know if it's to do with the algorithms, but it gets more people watching. So if you do enjoy these, please do hit that like button. I'm not going to say that all the time. That'll be the only time I mention it during this stream, but I would very much appreciate it. And it'd be great to get more people in playing along too at home. Lord Oakenshield, I'm loving the confidence. The questions are easy, at least for now. Adam Lodge says, I watched the Hobbit trilogy yesterday, and I think I got about half. Maybe. I'm not a true fan. Wait, don't put yourself down. You know, you've done the hard work. You've rewatched the trilogy. So you should be in a good position more than anyone, actually. So let's see how you do in part 2. So let's move on. We're going to be taking on an unexpected journey part 2 right now. There we go. Wow, there is such a lag between me clicking these pictures, guys. But hopefully it's coming through okay on there. So we're going to continue with the numbers. So this is going to be question 11. So here we go. Question 11. How many of the dwarf rings does Gandalf say were consumed by dragons? I hope you guys have been watching the extended editions, because I think this scene's in the extended edition only. So that's question 11. How many of the dwarf rings does Gandalf say were consumed by dragons? Okay, and question 12. As you can see me spreading myself thin here, where I have to double up on some of the scenes. So another White Council question. Question 12. When the Witch King fell, the men of the North took his body and sealed it within the high fells of which kingdom? I'm going to read that again. Question 12. When the Witch King fell, the men of the North took his body and sealed it within the high fells of which kingdom? And that question's almost verbatim from the movie, so I had to keep stopping myself from saying the answer there. Lord Oakenshield says, one of the biggest quality of the Hobbit trilogy is the cast, in my opinion, especially Martin Freeman and Richard Armitage and Lee Pace. I agree. I would have liked to have seen an older actor play Thorin. I don't know if this is just rumor, but I did hear that Brian Blessed was originally rumored to play Thorin, and in my opinion, that would be much better casting. Someone who's more older, wiser, a bit more dwarf-like, I guess, and less handsome Aragorn character. Okay, question 13. Complete the quote. This is no thunderstorm. It's a thunder blank. Complete the quote. This is no thunderstorm. It's a thunder. And here's the thing. I was quite stripped for the questions with this, and I knew I wanted to get a quote on the stone giants. But it's an action scene, and this is like so much of the Hobbit trilogy are just action scenes, and I just thought, well, what can you really ask a question on during that whole sequence? It's very tough, but I wanted to try and get a question in there for all of the key parts of the films, obviously in chronological order. Okay, question 14. Really hope you know your dwarves for this quiz as well, because there's going to be a lot of dwarf questions. Question 14. The Great Goblin says to torture the youngest dwarf first. But who is the youngest dwarf? The Great Goblin says to torture the youngest dwarf first. Who is the youngest dwarf? And I believe this question was actually made by JX. So once again, my friend, thank you very much for helping me out with some of the questions. And once again, with this question, this is the movie only I'm looking for, because the answer to this actually differs in the book. So let's go with the movie on this one, because there is an answer to it. Okay, question 15. The answer to Bilbo's first riddle is teeth. But how many teeth does Gollum have? Again, there's another difference with this one between the book and the film, but let's stick to the film. Question 15. The answer to Bilbo's first riddle is teeth. How many teeth does Gollum have? Lord, the greatest number in existence right there. Lord Oakenshield says, yes, Richard Armitage was too young, but I think he gave the character a lot of charisma and nobility, which is more accurate to Tolkien dwarves than goofy Gimli. I disagree. I like Gimli. I think, do they go overboard in a few of the comedic bits with Gimli? Yeah, they do, especially in Return of the King, but I don't know. He's more dwarf-like to me than Thorin. Question 16. Oh, this lag's killing me. There we go. Question 16. What are Gollum's 4 guesses as to what Bilbo has got in his pocket? So that's question 16. What are Gollum's 4 guesses as to what Bilbo has got in his pocket? So there's a point per one that you get correct on there. So there's a total of 4 points for that question. Bilbo offers Gollum 3 guesses, but Gollum actually sneaks in an extra one in there. So there's technically 4 guesses. So if you can get all of them, you got 4 points. I'll give you guys a little bit extra on that one because, yeah, you got to come up with 4 answers essentially. Yeah, oof, the words of Lord Oakenshield are just like ringing in my mind when he said that part 1 was too easy. Maybe I did make this one too easy, but I thought this was pretty challenging. Okay, let's move on. I will come back through these ones again, though, so don't worry. Question 17. Orcrist, the Goblin Cleaver, and Glamdring, the Foehammer, are known by which 2 names to the goblins? So there's 2 points for this question again. Multiple points on a lot of these questions. Orcrist, the Goblin Cleaver, and Glamdring, the Foehammer, are known by which 2 names to the goblins? Okay, give you guys a little bit longer on that one, if you guys need it. Maybe you guys don't need it. Maybe you're all feeling very confident. You know these films like the back of your hand. We'll find out. We'll certainly find out when we come to marking them off at the very end and see who comes out on top. Okay, question 18. After smelling the scent of fear on Thorin, who does Azog say reeked of the same smell? Okay, so this is question 18. After smelling the scent of fear on Thorin, who does Azog say reeked of the same smell? I wonder what that scent of fear is. Do you think like Thorin just soiled himself in those trees? Azog's just going like, just getting a good whiff of it. Man flesh. Okay, I'm going to move on from that one. As I say, I will be coming back through them shortly in case you guys miss any. Question 19. Who are the first 2 dwarves to land on an eagle? There's 2 points for that one as well. Who are the first 2 dwarves to land on an eagle? So with these dwarf questions, there are a few of them throughout the quiz. If you don't know, just throw names down. If you know any of the dwarves' names at all, throw a couple down. You know, it's worth a shot. You never know. No blank answers. They used to do that at school, didn't they? If you do an exam, don't leave any answers blank. Put something down on paper because you never know. And final question of Unexpected Journey. So question 20. What is the Sindarin name for the Lonely Mountain? This is an easy one. I definitely think this is one of the easiest ones in the quiz. So question 20. What is the Sindarin name for the Lonely Mountain? I do love that picture, though. Some of the cinematography in The Hobbit is fantastic. I mean, Andrew Lesnie, R.I.P., still did a fantastic job, despite the film being very digital. Again, it's Unexpected Journey, you know. It's filled with scenes like that. It's really good stuff. Lord Oakenshield says, I actually prefer the wargs from The Hobbit because they look like wolves. The ones from The Lord of the Rings look like hyenas. I'm kind of torn on this because, yeah, conceptually, I prefer the wargs from The Hobbit. I think they're probably a lot closer to what they actually should have been. I actually think, was it Guillermo del Toro who came up with a design for the wargs? Because I know he was so far into pre-production and they probably didn't have time to correct everything they had going for that movie. But I still do think effects-wise, the Hobbit ones do look a lot more cartoony. And I think that the wargs from the Two Towers certainly feel lived. It could be a thing with, real-life backgrounds, real-life locations with CGI implemented in, and it's a better blend, so therefore they look more realistic to me. But they look like more terrifying real-life beasts that I could imagine being real in some way, because they do look like hyenas. So I'm kind of torn. There's a bigger sense of realism with the wargs in The Lord of the Rings, but I think conceptually the ones from The Hobbit are closer to what I would expect from the book. Okay, so I'm going to go back over those questions very, very quickly, and then I will go back to round one, give you the answers for round one and the answers for round two, and we'll be moving on to Desolation of Smaug. Okay, so back to An Unexpected Journey Part 2. Question 11. How many of the dwarf rings does Gandalf say were consumed by dragons? That's question 11. How many of the dwarf rings does Gandalf say were consumed by dragons? Question 12. When the Witch King fell, the men of the North took his body and sealed it. Can't talk. When the Witch King fell, the men of the North took his body and sealed it within the high fells of which kingdom? So question 12. When the Witch King fell, the men of the North took his body and sealed it within the high fells of which kingdom? I keep wanting to say the answer, so that's why I keep slipping up. Because as I say, that question's pretty much a direct quote from the movie, and I know these films like the back of my hand. Because I've had to watch them hundreds of times when I did my fan edit. So there's a shameless plug for you. If you want to watch a different version of The Hobbit, there is a link to my fan edit in the description of this video. Yeah, it's been uploaded for a year now. So go and check it out. Question 13. Complete the quote. This is no thunderstorm. It's a thunder blank. Question 13. Complete the quote. This is no thunderstorm. It's a thunder. Question 14. The Great Goblin says to torture the youngest dwarf first. Who is the youngest dwarf? So you got a 1 in 13 chance with that. The Great Goblin says to torture the youngest dwarf first. Who is the youngest dwarf? Question 15. The answer to Bilbo's first riddle is teeth. How many teeth does Gollum have? So question 15. The answer to Bilbo's first riddle is teeth. How many teeth does Gollum have? Again, these are the answers from the film and not the books. Question 16. What are Gollum's 4 guesses as to what Bilbo has got in his pocket? So 4 points for that question. What are Gollum's 4 guesses as to what Bilbo has got in his pocket? Question 17. 2 points for this question. Orcrist the Goblin Cleaver and Glamdring the Foehammer are known by which 2 names to the goblins? That's question 17. Orcrist the Goblin Cleaver and Glamdring the Foehammer are known by which 2 names to the goblins? Okay, question 18. After smelling the scent of fear on Thorin, who does Azog say reeked of the same smell? Question 18. After smelling the scent of fear on Thorin, who does Azog say reeked of the same smell? Question 19. Who are the first 2 dwarves to land on an eagle? So there's 2 points for that question. Question 19. Who are the first 2 dwarves to land on an eagle? And finally, question 20. What is the Sindarin name for the Lonely Mountain?
Should be a nice, easy one. Maybe some challenging ones in there. Let's finish off with a nice, easy one. Question 20. What is the Sindarin name for the Lonely Mountain? Okay, and that'll do it for an unexpected journey. If you guys need me to go over any of the other questions, I'm going to hang fire just before I do the answers to them. So if you need me to reread one of the questions out to you, want a little bit of extra time, just let me know and I can go back over them. So I'll give you about a minute and then we'll start going over the answers to them. And let me know how you're finding the quiz. If round 2 is about the same as part 1 in terms of difficulty, if you think it's ramping up a little bit in terms of the challenging quality to it, I'm interested to know, because this is good feedback for me for like future quizzes down the line. I can really make them tough. Although, I mean, this might be one of the last Middle-earth ones that we do, certainly in terms of the films and everything, because I mean, we've done the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We're doing the Hobbit trilogy right now. What else is there really to do? So it's going to be a shame. It's going to be a shame because, yeah, we're finishing out the Middle-earth films for the time being. Lord Oakenshield says, it's still quite easy. Okay, well, let's put your money where your mouth is. Let's go over the answers then to Unexpected Journey. So I'll mention how many points it is, and I'll give you guys a few extra minutes at the end to add up how many points you've got between the rounds. Okay, so we're going back to Unexpected Journey Part 1. So these are the answers. Question 1 was, what is the name of Bilbo Baggins' mother? And the answer was Belladonna Took. If you guys have just written Belladonna, I'll accept it, but Belladonna Took. Okay, question 2. I'm going to have to rattle all these off now. Question 2 was, what are the names of the 13 dwarves? I've zoomed the picture out there. Oh, I forgot about this bit. So, hey guys, you've got me here. So, from left to right, we've got Nori, Fili, Dori, Bofa, Glowin, Dwalin, Thorin, Balin, Oin, Bomba, Biffa, Ori, and Killy. Now, you guys probably haven't got them in that order. You've probably got them in rhyming order, where you've got Dwalin, Balin, Biffa, Bofa, Bomba, Fili, Killy, you know, what Gandalf does in the film, essentially. But there's a bit of a visual aid there, so just mark them all off. 13 points for that question. In many ways, this question could be make or break for the whole quiz, because there's a hell of a lot of points on that one there. So, once again, the answer is Nori, Fili, Dori, Bofa, Glowin, Dwalin, Thorin, Balin, Oin, Bomba, Biffa, Ori, and Killy. I guess I'm going to pose that question to you guys. How do you, because I know in the movies they pronounce it Gloin, but I think it's probably pronounced Glowin. What about Oin? Is it Owen? Yeah, I'm interested. Okay, so that's your answer. If you need me to come back to that, do let me know. Let's move on, though. Question 3. At which battle did Bull Tuk knock the Goblin King's head off? That, of course, was the Battle of Green Fields. So, did you get Green Fields? Look at Bull Tuk just staring into my soul right there. Who's got the creepiest stare? Is it Bull Tuk or is it the next thing? Is it that horse? So, question 4 was, on Bilbo's fair share of walking holidays, which village does he say he once got as far as? And the answer to that is Frogmorton, which I actually had to check if that's a real place in Middle-earth. I didn't know if they made it up for the movie, but Frogmorton is a village. Question 5. What are the names of the 2 ponies that Bilbo sees Bertroll carrying away? So, 2 points for this question. The answer is Myrtle and Minty. I mean, there's quite a lot of cool horses in The Lord of the Rings, and ponies, really, if you think about it. We've got Shadowfax, we've got Brago in the Lord of the Rings films, we've got Myrtle and Minty, Bill the Pony, of course, from the Lord of the Rings. But I think my favourite's got to be from the book. It's got to be Fatty Lumpkin, which is Tom Bombadil's pony. Anyway, question 6. In which ancient city does Gandalf say the blades uncovered in the Troll Hoard were forged in? And the answer to that is Gondolin. I wanted to seize the opportunity to add as many Silmarillion answers in there as possible. And these aren't all from the Silmarillion book. These are, in fact, said in the movie. So I jumped at the chance, which takes us very nicely on to question 7. What is the name of the primordial creature that Radagast believes the spiders of Mirkwood are a spawn of? And the answer to that is Ungoliant. There we go, with a nice little bit of lag there on the picture. Sticking with Radagast, question 8. Where are Radagast's rabbits from that he says are fast enough to outrun wargs? And the answer to that is Roscabel. If you spelt it incorrectly, maybe you missed out the H, I'm fine with that. As long as you knew that it was Roscabel, that's fine. I will be lenient on that. Question 8. What is the Sindarin name for Rivendell? Well, there's no excuses on this one because they also say this a number of times in the Lord of the Rings films. It's, of course, Imladris. There we go. And question 10. Nearly how many years ago does Elrond say the moon runes were written? And the answer is 200. Maybe you could do some deductive counting back in terms of the timeline for that one if you couldn't remember the quote directly. Okay, so those are all the answers for round 1. So total marks for round 1 is out of 23 marks because there's a lot of multiple point ones on that one. So 23 total marks for that one. So I'll give you guys a little bit to add your points up, and then I'll go into the answers for Unexpected Journey Part 2. Oh yeah, so Lord Oakenshields has mentioned about the masterpiece called Rings of Power. Of course, I guess I could do a quiz on Rings of Power if you really want me to. I don't want to. I really don't want to. There's plenty of other quizzes I'd much rather do before then, but yeah, I guess we could do that one maybe. Okay, so as I mentioned, 23 marks on round 1. Let me know how you guys have done. I'll wait till I see a few numbers crop up in the live chat. Adam Lodge says, just to check, is each dwarf a point? Yes. Yeah. I'd be very, very cruel if I made you name 13 dwarves and only gave you 1 point for it. So yeah, treat yourself. 1 point per dwarf that you get. I will tell you there are no other 13 mark questions in the entire quiz. That is that question, of course, was going to be in there. JX says, I'm not sure I'm allowed to complete, but 23. Very well done. I know you did give me a hand in some of the questions, but you don't know all the questions. I haven't fired all of them your way, and I did actually test you on a few of these anyway, so I've kind of got a gauge that you knew what the answers were anyway. 23. Well, I mean, he's 100% right there. Slightly biased, but we've got a point on the board. I'll just wait for you guys to get your points in, and then we'll move on to round 2. Yeah, so I was looking through my wardrobe for my various Tolkien shirts, and I completely forgot that I had this Hobbit shirt, which I got around the time that it came out. And it also fits me better back then than it does now. It's a little bit snug. Rocking a bit of the bomber action after Christmas, I must admit. But Adam Lodge says 18. The dwarf names helped a lot. It did, and it's gonna be a big shock to the system, that question, I think, when it comes to the points at the end. Still all to play for, though. We've got another 4 rounds. We're chilling. We've only just begun. We finished movie 1. We've got 2 more movies. And Lord Oakenshield says 22. Wow, okay. I mean, those points are high across the board. We've got 18, we've got 22, we've got 23. I'm putting myself to shame right here, so maybe I need to step it up. So hang on, let's continue on then. So round 2 is going to be out of 15 marks, okay, guys? So round 2 is out of 15. Let's quickly go over the answers for that one as well. So, question 11. How many of the dwarf rings does Gandalf say were consumed by dragons? The answer is 4. They play very fast and loose with the lore during this scene, the whole White Council stuff, and the whole Thrain and the fate of the rings of the dwarves. But 4 were consumed by dragons, and then Gandalf in the movie says 2 were taken by Sauron before he fell in Mordor, and the fate of the last dwarf ring remains unknown. Of course, at this point in the book, the fate of that last dwarf ring has already been uncovered, So Sauron has actually reclaimed 3 dwarven rings. But the question I was looking for was which the dragons consumed, and the answer was 4. Question 12. I can finally say it now. I can finally say it because I had to keep stopping myself from saying it in the question. When the Witch King fell, the men of the north took his body and sealed it within the high fells of which kingdom? The answer is Rhudaur. So Rhudaur is the answer to that one. Again, if you miss the H, I'm not going to be that guy and say you can't have it. If you got it close enough, I will allow it. It's a very tricky word to spell. A lot of these I had to check Google as well on the spelling for some of these. So yeah. Question 13. Complete the quote. This is no thunderstorm. It's a thunder. And I've... there we go. There we go. Sorry, I thought I'd uploaded the same picture twice. It's a thunder battle, as Balin very proudly proclaims during that movie. So battle was the word I was looking for. Thunder battle. Does that scene have any point to the plot? Not really. Do I love it? Hell yeah, I do. I think I'm one of the only defenders of that stone giant scene. It does go completely ridiculous and on for way too long. But I'd say out of the whole trilogy, that scene has got probably some of the best visual effects across the whole trilogy. It looks outstanding. Question 14. The Great Goblin says to torture the youngest dwarf first. Who is the youngest dwarf? And the answer is Ori. Different in the book, as I mentioned. The book, I think Tolkien explicitly says that Fili and Kili are the youngest 2 dwarves. I don't think he specifically says which one. Well, I guess it'd be Kili, wouldn't it, out of the 2? Although I think in the edition of The Hobbit that I've got, he actually says that Fili is the youngest dwarf, which obviously he backtracks on when he does his family tree in The Lord of the Rings, because we know that Fili is the heir to the throne of Durin, which would make him the oldest. But for the films, the answer I'm looking for is Ori. Question 15. The answer to Bilbo's first riddle is teeth. How many teeth does Gollum have? And the answer in the movies, which I was looking for, is 9. In the book, in that chapter in Riddles in the Dark, Gollum says that he has 6. Now, me and JX were doing a bit of thought process on this, wondering why they changed it for the movies. My guess is they did the character model for Gollum in The Lord of the Rings and probably missed that information. And to keep continuity, they obviously kept it with 9. Or maybe they did originally create him with 6 teeth and just thought that the character didn't look quite right with so few teeth, so gave him 9. I don't know. I think it's probably the former, but the answer I was looking for is 9. Question 16. What are Gollum's 4 guesses as to what Bilbo has got in his pocket? And I did kind of want to type these out like Gollum says them. Like right there, I wrote pocket, and I wanted to write pockets is. So the answers are hands, knife, string, and nothing. So his 4 guesses are hands, knife, string, and nothing. He squeezes nothing in there as an extra guess on that last one. So he technically gets 4 guesses. That one might be a bit controversial. Those were his official guesses, because I know that Gollum does have a stream of consciousness where he says like goblin's teeth, wet shells, bat's wings, and things like that, but they're not his official guess. His official guess is knife. So question 17, 2 points for this one. Sorry to mention on that one too, there were 4 points for that one. So give yourself a point for each one that you got correct. Question 17, 2 points on this one. Orcris the Goblin Cleaver and Glamdring the Foe Hammer are known by which 2 names to the goblins? And that is Biter and Beater, respectively. Question 18. After smelling the scent of fear on Thorin, who does Azog say reeked of the same smell? And the answer is Thrain II. Now, that's a technical answer. If you've just written Thorin's father, I'll accept that gladly. Even if you've just written Thrain, or Thrain, sorry, I should pronounce it properly, shouldn't I? I'm going by the film pronunciation there. If you've just written Thrain, then that's fine too. I will accept that. So, possible answers, I would accept Thrain II, or Thorin's father. Question 19. Who are the first two dwarves to land on an eagle? I'll give you 2 points for this one. And the answers are Dory and Ori. Ori's creeping up a lot in this quiz, isn't he? He's been the answer to 3 questions so far. Maybe he'll have more. We don't know. And question 20. What is the Sindarin name for the Lonely Mountain? Nice, easy one, potentially, to round off the quiz. To round off an unexpected journey. The answer, of course, is Erebor, which I expect everyone should get right, because they say it multiple times in the movie. Maybe the Sindarin name part of it caught you guys off guard, but really, what other names are there for the Lonely Mountain? You know, it's Erebor. Of course it is. Okay, so total of 15 marks on that one, if my math is correct. So let me know how you got on. Throw some numbers at me, and then we'll move into Desolation of Smaug. Really looking forward to Desolation of Smaug questions. Within part 1 of Desolation of Smaug, I would say is the toughest question out of the whole quiz. To the point where even I was going to dumb that question down because I thought this is really unfair, but I thought, no, they can handle it. Clearly you guys can handle it because you guys are throwing up excellent marks. So going back to the answers, Lord Oakenshield says this is referring to the Witch King of Angmar. It's bullshit because the Witch King never died. When Angmar fell, he just fled to Mordor. I know. And as I said, these are based on the movies, not the books. If we were doing a quiz on the books and the Hobbit book or the Lord of the Rings books, it would be a very, very different story. But we have got to go by the movies. JX got 15. Very well done. Again, maybe slightly biased. I'm not sure if I ran some of those questions by you. I think I did. It was the what has he got in his pockets, wasn't it? Adam Lodge has got 10. Very, very respectable score right there. And Lord Oakenshield has 15. God almighty. I thought this was more challenging than the Lord of the Rings. Maybe not. You guys have just been pouring over the Hobbit films. Fair play to you. Okay, well, let's take it up a notch, hopefully. So let's kick off with Desolation of Smaug, Part 1. There we go. So once again, there's going to be 10 questions for this. I'll repeat the questions. It's going to be the same format. We'll move into Part 2. I'll repeat those, and then I'll give you the answers to both parts of Desolation of Smaug. Okay, so here we go. Desolation of Smaug, Part 1. So question 1. What is the name of the gate that Thorin said his father led a charge towards during the Battle of Moria? So this is in the extended edition. Question 1. What is the name of the gate that Thorin said his father led a charge towards during the Battle of Moria? Or the Battle of Azanulbizar. That was going to be one of the questions, but I thought that's a bit unfair because they don't actually say that in the films. As I said, all of the answers to each and every one of these questions can be seen or heard in the film. So there's no trick questions on this one. Question 2. Who finally manages to open the door to Beorn's house? Question 2. Who finally manages to open the door to Beorn's house? I actually thought it was really hard to think of a Beorn question. That was one of the last questions I actually came up with on the quiz. I was kind of desperate. I was pushed for time. So that's as good as you're going to get, I'm afraid, for Beorn in this quiz. I guess I've kind of given him the same treatment as Peter Jackson did in the movie and barely featured him. Question 3. This is kind of an easy question, I think. What is the name of the stronghold that is the base of operations for the Necromancer? Question 3. What is the name of the stronghold that is the base of operations for the Necromancer? Okay, guys shouldn't have trouble with that one, I think. Let's move on. Question 4. How many miles north does Gandalf say the company would have to travel to avoid Mirkwood? So that's question 4. How many miles north does Gandalf say the company would have to travel to avoid Mirkwood? So just get a number down. Any number. Question 5. What item do the dwarves find in Mirkwood that makes them mistakenly believe that there are other dwarves in the forest? So that's question 5. I'm going to read that out again. There's a lot in that one. What item do the dwarves find in Mirkwood that makes them mistakenly believe that there are other dwarves in the forest? Again, that was one of the last questions that I came up with. It was very tough finding a Mirkwood question. Lord Oakenshield says, too hard this one. Oof, okay, well there we go. So Unexpected Journey was your warm-up. I did warn you, 6 rounds of very challenging questions. So hopefully this one cuts the mustard. Okay, question 6. Which dwarf does Bilbo save from the spiders first? And that question was courtesy of JX. Which dwarf does Bilbo save first from the spiders? Okay, question 7. Who kills the last of the spiders during the attack in Mirkwood? Question 7. Who kills the last of the spiders during the attack in Mirkwood? I will warn you, the next question is the toughest in the whole quiz. I think it's a very mean question. Okay, here we go. Get ready. So, question 8. What is the Elvish name for the Feast of Starlight? Question 8. What is the Elvish name for the Feast of Starlight? I'm not too fussed about spelling on this one, as long as you get it close. This question was so tough, I was thinking about reversing the question and giving you the Elvish and saying, what does this translate to? But I thought you guys would pretty much get it from the picture. So no, we're making it a challenging quiz. I warned you this is going to be a difficult quiz. So what is the Elvish name for the Feast of Starlight? I did warn you. Lord Oakenshield says, fuck, this is too hard. This is where the tables may turn. Who knows? Next question, once again, courtesy of JX. So, question 9. During Barrels Out of Bond, how many times does a dwarf leave and re-enter a barrel? So, question 9. During Barrels Out of Bond, how many times does a dwarf leave and re-enter a barrel? And once again, like that scene, how do you come up with a question for that? It's just an elongated action scene. It's really, really tough thinking of some of the questions for this one. Because you are essentially just watching a scene of they fight. And question 10, so this will cap off part 1 of Desolation of Smaug. By what other name is Lake Town also known as? Question 10, by what other name is Lake Town also known as? I do like the design of Lake Town, actually. Lord Oakenshield says, this is outrageous. It's unfair. Take a seat, Lord Oakenshield. Okay, I'm going to go over those really, really quickly again. Rapid fire on these ones, and then we're going to get on to part 2. So, going back over the questions of Desolation of Smaug Part 1. Question 1. What is the name of the gate that Thorin said his father led a charge towards during the Battle of Moria? So that's question 1. What is the name of the gate that Thorin said his father led a charge towards during the Battle of Moria? And Thrain goes from having one eye in the first movie to having 2 working eyes in the second movie. I'm not quite sure how that works, but there we go. Question 2. Who finally manages to open the door to Beorn's house? That's question 2. Who finally manages to open the door to Beorn's house? Again, Beorn's design changes from movie 2 into movie 3. Yeah, there's a lot of discrepancies. You've got the Witch King as well. The ghost of the Witch King in Unexpected Journey looks like the Wraith version that we see in the Lord of the Rings, and then all of a sudden he's a completely different ghostly version in Battle of the Five Armies. Question 3. What is the name of the stronghold that is the base of operations for the Necromancer? Question 3. What is the name of the stronghold that is the base of operations for the Necromancer? Question 4. How many miles north does Gandalf say the company would have to travel to avoid Mirkwood? Question 4. How many miles north does Gandalf say the company would have to travel to avoid Mirkwood? Question 5. What item do the dwarves find in Mirkwood that makes them mistakenly believe that there are other dwarves in the forest? Question 5. What item do the dwarves find in Mirkwood that makes them mistakenly believe that there are other dwarves in the forest? Question 6. Which dwarf does Bilbo save from the spiders first? Question 6. Which dwarf does Bilbo save from the spiders first? Question 7. Who kills the last of the spiders during the attack in Mirkwood? That's question 7. Who kills the last of the spiders during the attack in Mirkwood? Question 8. Boss music intensifies, the hardest question in the whole quiz. What is the Elvish name for the Feast of Starlight? Question 8. What is the Elvish name for the Feast of Starlight? Question 9. During Barrels Out of Bond, how many times does a dwarf leave and re-enter a barrel? Question 9. During Barrels Out of Bond, how many times does a dwarf leave and re-enter a barrel? And finally, question 10. By what other name is Lake Town also known as? Question 10. By what other name is Lake Town also known as? So I'll give you guys a few minutes to add up your scores. So the scores for this one, it's just 10 marks. It's 1 point per question for this one, so it'll be out of 10. I'm just going to do another little disclaimer. Although we haven't had anyone do it so far, so I think everyone watching knows the rules. But if you are just tuning in, please do not type any answers in the live chat. Keep it to yourself. Just joke answers in the live chat. But yeah, please don't type answers in the live chat. Thank you very much. Okay. So I'll wait for some numbers to come in. That was out of 10. Come on, Lord Oakenshield. Come on, give us what you have. I mean, it's always fun being the quiz master because, like, I have all the power with this. It's great, but I do miss playing quizzes. Actually being a participant within the quiz itself. Yeah, I miss that. So maybe you guys are going to have to come up with a quiz for me. That'd be fun. We've got the first point on the board. Lord Oakenshield says he got 6. 6 out of 10 is still a very, very good score. It was a tough round. This part was really hard. I think part 2 might be... Oh, I don't know. I don't want to say it's slightly easier because it might not be. It ultimately depends. Or maybe it's just down to the fact that you've watched Unexpected Journey more times than Desolation of Smaug. I mean, that could be it. I mean, I could be wrong. Okay, we'll give people a few more... Well, I won't say a few more minutes. I'll give you like 30 seconds. Get your scores up. Out of 10 for that round. Oh, wait, no. Did I say scores? We haven't done scores yet. What am I talking about? Wait, no, I did do scores, didn't I? I did. Wait, guys, I'm so... Yeah, wait, no, forget that. I haven't... Guys, I'm so out of it. Sorry, I haven't done the scores for that yet, have I? I haven't done the answers. So saying 6. Yeah, we haven't done them yet, have we? So I'm guessing you're saying you got 6 right. You've answered 6 out of 10. Is that right? Okay, let's move on to part 2. Sorry, guys, I had a complete brain fart there of where we are. Okay, yeah, so that's all the questions done for that one. Okay, so let's move on to part 2. So I'll go over the questions now for part 2, and then I will go back over the answers and we'll do the scores then. Sorry, I was completely out of it there, waiting for you guys to do scores that we haven't even done. Desolation of Smaug part 2. Here we go. Get ready. Question 11. Sorry, there we go. Sorry, I was just reading your comment there. Question 11. Complete the prophecy of Durin's folk, the Lord of Silver Fountains, the King of Carven Stone. The king beneath the mountain shall come into his own, and the bells shall ring in gladness at the mountain king's return, but all shall fail in sadness, and the lake will blank and blank. So 2 points for that one, if you get each word. So I'll read through that really quickly because it's a long question. Question 11, complete the prophecy of Durin's folk. The Lord of Silver Fountains, the King of Carven Stone, the king beneath the mountain shall come into his own. And the bells shall ring in gladness at the mountain king's return, but all shall fail in sadness, and the lake will blank and blank. I'm looking for the 2 missing words there. Point for each one. Also, where can I find a replica of that tapestry? It's absolutely gorgeous. And if I'm going for movie memorabilia from The Hobbit, that's like chief among them. One of the bits that I really want. I don't know if they've ever produced it. Maybe Weta or something. Question 12. What is the name of Bard's ancestor who was once the Lord of Dale? Question 12. What is the name of Bard's ancestor who was once the Lord of Dale? I should say, by the way, it's a total of 14 marks, by the way, for this round. So Desolation of Smaug Part 1 is a total of 10. This one's a total of 14 marks. Okay. Question 13. Who are the 4 dwarves that stay behind in Lake Town? Total of 4 points on this one, guys. So that's question 13. Who are the 4 dwarves that stay behind in Lake Town? I'll give you guys a little extra on that one. Okay, let's move on. So we've got question 14. Complete the inscription above the back door. Herein lies the blank kingdom of Durin's folk. There's multiple choice one on this one. It's our first multiple choice. Is it A, 5th, B, 6th, C, 7th, or D, 8th? So the question is, this is question 14, complete the inscription above the back door. Herein lies the blank kingdom of Durin's folk. Is it A, 5th, B, 6th, C, 7th, or D, 8th? I'm just going to add up the points for round 2 of this one just to make sure I've got them correct. Yeah, I've got it right. Yeah, it's out of 14. Okay, next question. Question 15. Gandalf introduces Dol Guldur as the Hill of blank. So what is that word? What is that missing word? Question 15. Gandalf introduces Dol Guldur as the Hill of blank. No multiple choice on this one. You just got to go for it. There's a lot of completing the quotes in this round, I will say. It's very steeped in that. Desolation of Smaug, definitely the most challenging film to come up with questions for, believe it or not. I knew the key points in the film that I wanted to do questions for, but yeah, it was trying to think of one. Okay, question 16. Which of these is not a title that Bilbo calls Smaug? Is it A, unaccessibly wealthy, B, stupendous, C, tyrannical, or D, fierce? So which of these is not a title that Bilbo calls Smaug? Is it A, unaccessibly wealthy, B, stupendous, C, tyrannical, or D, fierce? You got to love that shot of Smaug right there. Okay, have you all got one? You all picked one? Okay, let's move on. Courtesy of JX Editor, this question. So this is question 17. From which animal does Bofur take the king's foil? Question 17. From which animal does Bofur take the king's foil? I'm going to go on like a film tangent right now real quick while you guys are writing an answer down for that. It was a very strange experience going back through these films. I was like fast forwarding through the film on like 1.5 speed, like fast forwarding, trying to get questions down for it. And was watching scenes like this that I haven't seen in years. I've been so used to my edit removing these scenes and just never watching them that I had to kind of go back and just revisit how pointless and bad some of these additional scenes are to the films that aren't from the book. But there we go. Okay, question 18. What is the name given to the grenade-like devices that Thorin instructs Balin to mix? This might be a bit of a challenging one, this one. Question 18. What is the name given to the grenade-like devices that Thorin instructs Balin to mix? Lord Okachu. It's Pikachu! It's Clefairy! Fuck! Lord Oakenshield says, I can't rewatch this trilogy since I watched Reddit. Oh, thanks, man. I mean, that's praise right there. I do appreciate that. Might do a third version. I haven't forgotten. I might do an updated version of it. The time's just got to be right to do it. When I'm not spending 12 hours almost coming up with a quiz for The Hobbit in one day. And when I actually have some time to do it. Question 19. Multiple choice on this one again. Which room does Thorin tell the dwarves to lead Smaug to once the gold has been melted down? Is it A, the Hall of the Kings, B, Gallery of the Kings, C, Chamber of the Kings, or D, Vestibule of the Kings? So which room does Thorin tell the dwarves to lead Smaug to once the gold has been melted down? Is it A, the Hall of the Kings, B, Gallery of the Kings, C, Chamber of the Kings, or D, Vestibule of the Kings? And that whole sequence is also another one that I really wish I hadn't bothered rewatching. Because as I said, I was rewatching bits of Desolation of Smaug, and to me, that's where things started to go downhill. And finally, question 20, which will finish off our Desolation of Smaug. Part 2. Question 20. What is the final spoken line of the Desolation of Smaug? There's a little visual cue there, maybe, that might be able to help you out. Question 20. What is the final spoken line of the Desolation of Smaug? And I ain't counting the fucking Ed Sheeran song, which has no place in anything Middle-earth related. This is spoken dialogue within the film. Lord Oakenshield says, this is regarding my edit. Yes, I definitely watch a third version. There are still a few tweaks to do. Maybe. You know what? I like my Ironclad scene with the fate of the Master of Lake Town and Alfred. I like that scene. It ties up that nice, neat little loose end. Okay, so I'm going to go over those questions again very, very quickly, and then we'll get into the answers. Well, I'm on track again now. I know where we are. We go back over the answers for Desolation of Smaug. Okay. Question 11. Complete the prophecy of Durin's folk. 2 points for this one. The Lord of Silver Fountains, the King of Carven Stone. I should read this in a Luke Evans voice, shouldn't I? The King beneath the mountain, shall come into his own. No, I'm not going to do that. And the bells shall ring in gladness at the mountain king's return, but all shall fail in sadness, and the lake will blank and blank. So I need the 2 words that complete the prophecy of Durin's folk. Point for each on that one. Question 12. What is the name of Bard's ancestor who was once the Lord of Dale? That's question 12. What is the name of Bard's ancestor who was once the Lord of Dale? Question 13. Who are the 4 dwarves that stay behind in Lake Town? Actually, one of my least favourite changes in Desolation of Smaug was the fact that they split the party. So question 13. Who are the 4 dwarves that stay behind in Lake Town? And there's a point for each one. So again, if you don't know it, but you do know some of the dwarves' names, throw them down because you've got a shot at it. You might get a couple of points. Question 14. Complete the inscription above the back door. Herein lies the blank kingdom of Durin's folk. Is it A, 5th, B, 6th, C, 7th, or D, 8th? Question 15. Gandalf introduces Dol Guldur as the Hill of what? Gandalf introduces Dol Guldur as the Hill of blank. I'm looking for the missing word there. Question 16. Which of these is not a title that Bilbo calls Smaug? A, unaccessibly wealthy, B, stupendous, C, tyrannical, or D, fierce? Question 17. From which animal does Bofur take the king's foil? Question 17. From which animal does Bofur take the king's foil? Question 18. What is the name given to the grenade-like devices that Thorin instructs Balin to mix? It's question 18. What is the name given to the grenade-like devices that Thorin instructs Balin to mix? Question 19. Multiple choice again on this one. Which room does Thorin tell the dwarves to lead Smaug to once the gold has been melted down? Is it A, Hall of the Kings, B, Gallery of the Kings, C, Chamber of the Kings, or D, Vestibule of the Kings? So that's question 19. Which room does Thorin tell the dwarves to lead Smaug to once the gold has been melted down? Is it A, Hall of the Kings, B, Gallery of the Kings, C, Chamber of the Kings, or D, Vestibule of the Kings? And to finish us off, Desolation of Smaug. What is the final spoken line of the Desolation of Smaug? And once again, that doesn't count the end credits song. It's spoken line of dialogue within the film. Question 20. What is the final spoken line of the Desolation of Smaug? And that finishes us off for Desolation of Smaug. So I'll go back to part 1 now and give you the answers. I'm just going to get a quick drink of water, though, because I'm doing a lot of talking. I will say, by the way, after I've done the answers to Desolation of Smaug, you guys are probably just going to have to take like a 5-minute break or so, 5, maybe 10 minutes, because StreamYard has a limit of how many pictures I can upload. So if you guys did the Lord of the Rings one, you know the score now. I'm going to have to delete off the pictures from the previous 2 rounds so that I can upload the Battle of the Five Armies one. So it'll be about 5 or 10 minutes of me uploading, but I'll let you guys know when I'm done. Lord Oakenshield says the final spoken line was still a better adaptation than the Rings of Power. That's true. That is fucking true. I don't know if the Hobbit trilogy is almost going to have a Star Wars prequel effect now, where it took a worse trilogy to come out afterwards that made people go back and look at the prequels and go, maybe these aren't all bad. They're still pretty bad in some respects, but not as bad. And Toby Alston says, I liked the song I See Fire, thought it was a good fit, to be honest, although they should have ended the movie with the reveal of Sauron instead. Yeah, and I've actually seen a couple of fan edits that have done that. They end with Gandalf going into Dol Guldur, and yeah, I like that ending. I've seen that edit. I think it's a 2-part edit, maybe. I think it's the Gathering of the Clouds, actually, if I remember rightly. I think it's part 1, Gathering of the Clouds, and then part 2 is called There and Back Again. But yeah, that was a really great edit, actually. Okay, answers. Let's do answers. So, as I mentioned, Desolation of Smaug Part 1. This is out of a total of 10 marks. So just 1 point per question on this one. Let's go through it quickly. Question 1. What is the name of the gate that Thorin said his father led a charge towards during the Battle of Moria? And the answer I was looking for is the Dimral Gate. If you've written the Gate of Moria, then I won't accept that. The one I'm looking for is the Dimral Gate. Thorin does say that in the movie. He goes, "My father led a charge towards the Dimral Gate, but he did not return," or something like that, I think it is. Question 2. Who finally manages to open the door to Beorn's house? The answer I was looking for is Thorin. Apparently, all the other dwarves don't know how a latch on a door works. Thorin rocks up, and he's the one that opens the latch, which lets them inside. Question 3, easy answer on this one, I think. What is the name of the stronghold that is the base of operations for the Necromancer? And the answer is Dol Guldur. Now, for you book aficionados, if you've written Amon Lank, then give yourself a point. You still only get 1 point for it, but I think majority of you have probably written Dol Guldur. Question 4. How many miles north does Gandalf say the company would have to travel to avoid Mirkwood? The answer is 200. It's another 200. We've had 2 answers so far that are 200. Maybe a bit of a challenging one, this one. Question 5. What item do the dwarves find in Mirkwood that makes them mistakenly believe that there are other dwarves in the forest? And the answer I was looking for is tobacco pouch. They find Bofur's tobacco pouch, which he thinks belongs to another dwarf. There are dwarves in these woods. Question 6. Which dwarf does Bilbo save from the spiders first? And the answer is Bomber. Spider's going for the fat and juicy one, and Bilbo comes in clutch. Question 7. Who kills the last of the spiders during the attack in Mirkwood? And the answer I was looking for is Tauriel. Legolas clears them for a while, but then they hear Killy screaming out because he's being attacked by a spider. Tauriel comes in, has a little action scene, and finishes off the last of the spiders. Toughest question right now. I don't expect many of you will get this, in all fairness. Question 8. What is the Elvish name for the Feast of Starlight? I'm not too fussed on the spelling for this, but as long as you knew you were going for it, the answer is Merith Engillith. Very tough answer, that one. Probably a little bit too hard, but hey, this isn't false advertising, okay? I advertise this as a tough quiz. If you've watched the movie, if you've watched it with subtitles, if you watched it a few times, maybe you even got that one. So the answer I was looking for is Merith Engillith. Question 9. During Barrels Out of Bond, how many times does a dwarf leave and re-enter a barrel? And the answer is 2. The main one everyone probably remembers is Bomber and the crazy fucking antics of him. But some of you might have forgot Killy. At the Watergate, Killy exits the barrel to pull the lever. He's shot with the Morgul arrow from Bolg, and then he jumps back in a barrel. So 2 dwarves leave and re-enter a barrel. Where the spare barrels keep coming from is beyond me. And question 10, by what other name is Lake Town also known as? And the answer I was looking for is Esgaroth. Esgaroth is the answer to question 10. Moving on straight on to the answers for Desolation of Smaug Part 2. We had question 11, complete the prophecy of Durin's folk. The Lord of Silver Fountains, the King of Carven Stone, the King beneath the mountain shall come into his own, and the bells shall ring in gladness at the Mountain King's return, but all shall fail in sadness, and the lake will blank and blank. So 2 points for this one. And the words I was looking for are shine and burn. but all shall fail in sadness, and the lake will shine and burn. So 2 points for that one. Question 12. What is the name of Bard's ancestor who was once the Lord of Dale? And it's Girion. Lord of Dale, your ancestor who failed to kill the beast. Oh boy. Question 13. Who are the 4 dwarves that stay behind in Lake Town? Point per dwarf for this one, total of 4 points. And the answer is Philly, Killy, Oin, and Bofa. By my beard, is that the time? Question 14. Complete the inscription above the back door. Herein lies the blank kingdom of Durin's folk. Is it A, 5th, B, 6th, C, 7th, D, 8th? Well, deductive reasoning already gets rid of one answer there, because there are only 7 kingdoms of the dwarves. So 8th is automatically a no-go. The answer I was looking for is C, the 7th kingdom of Durin's folk. Question 15. Gandalf introduces Dol Guldur as the Hill of blank. And what I was looking for is the Hill of Sorcery. Question 16. Which of these is not a title that Bilbo calls Smaug? Is it A, unaccessibly wealthy, B, stupendous, C, tyrannical, or D, fierce? Remember, it's not a title that Bilbo calls Smaug, and the answer I was looking for is D, fierce. Question 17. From which animal does Bofa take the king's foil? The answer is a pig. Okay, question 18. What is the name given to the grenade-like devices that Thorin instructs Balin to mix? And the answer is Flash Flame. Balin, can you still mix a Flash Flame? Aye, it'll only take a jiffy. We don't have a jiffy. Question 19. Which room does Thorin tell the dwarves to lead Smaug to once the gold has been melted down? This was multiple choice. Was it A, Hall of the Kings, B, Gallery of the Kings, C, Chamber of the Kings, or D, Vestibule of the Kings? And the answer is B, Gallery of the Kings. Right before Thorin jumps into a flame-proof wheelbarrow and coasts down a river of molten gold. Oy vey. Question 20. What is the final spoken line of the Desolation of Smaug? And the answer to that is, what have we done? So, what have we done was the answer I was looking for. Okay, so if you add your points up, Desolation of Smaug Part 1 is at a total of 10 points, and Desolation of Smaug Part 2 is at a total of 14 points. So hit me up with 2 numbers, 1 for each round on that one. I think I jumped the gun, actually, with the knowing the points on Part 1. But you can send me 2 numbers through. Let me know how many you got out of 10 for Part 1 and how many you got out of 14 for Part 2. While you guys are doing that, it's going to take a little bit because it only lets me delete 1 picture at a time, which is really annoying. I'm just going to be deleting the pictures for Desolation of Smaug and Unexpected Journey, uploading and organising the Battle of the Five Armies ones, and then we can get underway and finish off the quiz. In the meantime, though, let me know how you're finding the quiz. Are you enjoying it? If you enjoy these quizzes, please do let me know. As I mentioned, hit the like button. It does make a difference, and it encourages me to know that you guys enjoy this. I mean, I make content that I enjoy doing, even if it does take a whole day of editing. It was incredibly time consuming today, but as I said, I wasn't sure whether I was going to do the quiz today or if I was going to leave it till the new year. But consider this the New Year's Eve special, I guess. You know, it's the last video of 2022. And December this year was the 10th anniversary of Unexpected Journey. So although a little bit late, never late, I arrive precisely when I mean to. We've got somewhat of a Hobbit celebration on the channel, at least. We've done a lot of Rings of Power stuff. We've done a lot of Lord of the Rings stuff. We haven't really done much Hobbit stuff, so it's time for a change, I think. Which does leave us in a very interesting territory for 2023, though, with which quizzes we can do next. I've got plenty of ideas. There's a lot of other big film trilogies out there, of course, Star Wars being a main one. I'd love to do a trilogy on that. Maybe even going back to the James Bond films at some point. I don't really know how I do those. I don't know if I just do 10 questions for each actor to play Bond, maybe. I don't know. Or I could just do maybe, I don't know, 20 questions per film. Obviously, I'd split it up. I'd do the George. I'd do the Sean Connery ones. And do like 60 questions for those, maybe. I don't know if I could get 60 questions out for George Lazenby's One and Done, but I can see you guys have sent me some comments. Bear with me a second, and I will read them out. Talks. God, I can't talk. I'm going to take a drink of water. Talk amongst yourselves, though, because this is going to be a process. It's really annoying that StreamYard only lets you upload 100 pictures. We're going to have... Oh, let me get rid of that. We've already had that one. We're going to have this for every quiz, though, I think. If we do 60 questions, you're always going to get this, I think. I mean, I guess to avoid this in the future, I could just do title cards and not answer cards. But I think it's better. It's more visual, isn't it, having question and answer cards, I think. So, yeah. Well, it gives you guys a break. We've been going for 90 minutes now. So if you need to take a toilet break, get a food break, quickly watch Battle of the Five Armies on fast forward to prepare for the next round, do what you got to do. Just deleting the questions. It's really annoying that you can't delete things on a multiple scale. You can upload things on a multiple scale, but you just can't delete them, which is just really infuriating. StreamYard's got a long way to go. It ain't bad, but it's got a long way to go. I guess I should ask as well, because, yeah, wow, I was straight onto my live stream and totally forgot. How are you guys' Christmases, holidays, whatever it is you celebrate? Maybe you don't celebrate them at all, but how have you been the last couple of weeks? And do you guys have any plans for New Year's Eve? I'd be very interested to know. Okay, I am currently uploading the pictures for Battle of the Five Armies. And the leaderboard as well. The leaderboard's all going to be to play for. Okay, they're uploading. That's going to take a few minutes. Let me just backtrack on some of the comments that you guys have sent through. Toby Alston says, or Euston, sorry. Is it Euston? I'm saying Alston. I bet it's probably Euston. Thorin's OP as fuck. Him versus Legolas would never end. Thank God they didn't do that. Yeah. Also, like, just with how far they can throw things in the Hobbit films. I do want to say as well, how's my connection right now? Because it's just come up that I've got 1 bar of signal, and it concerns me that I might lose internet connection. But what am I like with the stream? Am I coming out okay? Can you guys hear me? Am I lagging? Do let me know. It's probably because I'm uploading stuff as I'm streaming, so it'll probably slow me down a little bit, but do keep me in the loop. Lord Oakenshield says that he got 6 for part 1 and 9 for part 2. It's very good going. Very, very good going. Adam says that the stream's all good. Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's see. So for round 1, well, for part 1 of Desolation of Smaug, Adam Lodge got 7 out of 10 and 10 out of 14. That's some great scores tonight, guys. Let's see. Lord Oakenshaw says, yes, it's really cool, but a quiz about the lore from the books would be awesome. Someone did recommend that last time, actually, when I did the Lord of the Rings, and it'll be a very tough order. I would have to go through the book, and I'd have to make notes on each chapter as I go through. That would be that would be how challenging do I go? Because with anything Tolkien related, especially the Lord of the Rings, and even the Silmarillion especially, you could go completely off the walls difficult with that. And I don't know if that would be totally inaccessible for some people playing. you know, it'll be a Tolkien quiz made for hardcore Tolkien fans. But maybe it's something I could have a think about in the future, definitely. And it would give me an excuse, like I need one anyway, to go back through the books. Try doing 60 questions for Hunger Games. Oh, Jesus Christ. I've only seen the Hunger Games once, actually, each one of those films, so I'm not exactly massively knowledgeable about the Hunger Games. Lord Oakenshaw says, I actually hate Christmas, though I used to love it when I was younger. I'm in exactly the same boat. I did absolutely nothing Christmas Day. I just tried to get through it. Toby Alston says you were right the first time pronouncing my name. Okay, that's cool. Okay, all the pictures are uploaded. I now need to order them because it puts them in a completely whacked out order. So again, bear with me. Talk amongst yourselves. I know this is a slow process. We'll get there, okay, guys? We'll get there. We will continue on in just a second. Just let me do what I've got to do, though, first. Oh, wow, this is just completely... Yeah, hang on. Oh, this is a process. If there was a quicker way of doing this, believe me, we'd do it. I'm trying very hard not to actually click one of these pictures as well. Otherwise, it'll spoil the whole goddamn thing, won't it? So let's not do that. Oh, God. So basically, I've got two pictures, right? I've got the question card and I've got the answer card. When I've uploaded them all in bulk, but it's jumbled them all up. So I'm having to find where all my numbers are. You got to be organized for this kind of stuff. You've got to name your shit absolutely on point, because otherwise this would be impossible. Okay, I'm getting there, guys. I'm getting there. Talk amongst yourselves, make friends, talk about Tolkien, all that good stuff. If there was a way of me making this stream more engaging at this point, believe me, I'd do it. But yeah, we got to do what we got to do. Okay, they're all that. Okay, so let's bring that down to there. I'm talking to myself now. This is what happens. I tell you what, this stream's just going to make me delirious. It really will. I can't go for dead air. Like, people tuning in going like, oh, God, like, ugh, this silent quiz. It's really unengaging, boring as fuck quiz, but we'll get to it. And Battle of the Five Armies is the big one. I actually think, judging by what you guys have said with how many points you've done so far, I think this is going to be probably the most competitive quiz we've done so far. I think with the Lord of the Rings one, we hit a point where it was kind of a walk away at one point, but I genuinely still believe it's all to play for because you guys have been throwing out some very similar scores tonight. So I'm excited. And as I mentioned, we've got a leaderboard at the end, a very fun, quirky little leaderboard. We're almost there. We're almost there. Okay. I need a number 14. There it is. Number 14. Let's see what else I need. I need a number 12. There it is. 11 comes after 10. So let's move that down. Do apologize for this, guys. I really do. Unfortunately, there is no way around it. It's like Mirkwood. There is no way around. Not unless we go 200 miles north, which you know the answer to that now. If you didn't before, you know it. Okay, let me see. I've got 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10. Okay, we're absolutely golden. We're golden for round 1. Let me just upload one more picture and we will be underway. Okay, so hopefully you've all taken a bathroom break. Hell, you guys have probably got time to take a number 2 during this whole thing if you need to. The Scent of Fear. Okay, let me just move that up. We will be underway in just a second, I promise, guys. 11, 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20. Okay, perfect. We are good to go. We are good to go, ladies and gentlemen. Get your asses back here. We're about to take on Battle of the Five Armies. We've got Mythic Dawn in the comments, says, hello, how you doing, my friend? I don't know if you've been watching along tonight. I don't know if you've just joined in, but we're about to start Battle of the Five Armies. So by all means, go back at some point and watch Unexpected Journey. You know, this is designed to be played at home. So Toby Alston says, would rather 60 questions on the OG Spider-Man trilogy. Oh, that is a great shout. I fucking love Sam Raimi's Spider-Man film. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. I mean, the only reason that I've decided to do 60 for Lord of the Rings, I mean, number one, there's a lot of story. There's a lot of stuff in the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. More so in the Lord of the Rings than the Hobbit, but there's still a lot of stuff. So you can get 10 questions. And of course, there's an intermission in the film. So you can do 10 on part one, you can do 10 on part two. When it comes to something like the Spider-Man trilogy, it's just one film. So would you guys prefer a quiz that's like 30 questions, like 10 questions per film, or do you guys want 20 questions per film? If you like the longer quizzes, do let me know. As I say, I take on all the feedback and everything. It's being noted. This is still a work in progress. But glad you've enjoyed the I've loved doing the Tolkien quiz. I live for this shit. In case you didn't know, I love Tolkien stuff, so it's all good. Oh, I love that. I love that. Eagles could have taken them to the mountain now, thinking about it. I don't know. There's a fire-breathing dragon in there who in the book is flying around and eating sheep and taking away maidens. But now the battle for the mountain is about to begin. Yes, it is. And I think that's a perfect segue. So without further ado, let's get into it. So kicking off with Battle of the Five Armies, Part 1. This round is out of 10 marks, so it's just 1 point per question for this one again. Question 1. How many regular arrows do we see Bard fire at Smaug before eventually killing him with a black arrow? So I'm not counting the black arrow in this total. The question is, how many regular arrows do we see Bard fire at Smaug before eventually killing him with a black arrow? Okay, question 2. Multiple choice on this one. When Bard inquires as to the whereabouts of the Master of Lake Town, Bianca says he is halfway down which river? Is it A, Kelduin, B, Anduin, C, Bruinen, or D, Eisen? So, question 2. When Bard inquires as to the whereabouts of the Master of Lake Town, Bianca says he is halfway down which river? Is it A, Kelduin, B, Anduin, C, Bruinen, or D, Eisen? Okay, hopefully you've all put a letter down or written out what you think it is. Let's move on. Question 3. Where does Azog command Bolg to ride to in order to summon the second Orc army? So, question 3. Where does Azog command Bolg to ride to in order to summon the second Orc army? And I can't even do the black speech in that bit because it'll give the answer away. Okay. Question 4. What kingdom does Sauron say will rise again during the attack on Dol Guldur? Question 4. What kingdom does Sauron say will rise again during the attack on Dol Guldur? I'm going to ask this question as well. Were you guys let down at the appearance of the Necromancer in the Hobbit films? I remember that Games Workshop, the Warhammer figures, before the Hobbit films had even come out, had actually started work on some of the extended characters and stuff within the Hobbit and other Tolkien's works, and they'd actually done a Necromancer figure, and it was kind of like a Sauron helmet, but he was robed in like a green, ripped, shredded cloak. It looked really fucking cool. I don't know, they just kind of went with a silhouette, didn't they, or the giant flaming eyeball again. I can't help but feel it was a little bit of a waste. Anyway, question 5. What is the full name of the precious gems that Thranduil desired? Question 5. What is the full name of the precious gems that Thranduil desired? I know an elf lord who would pay a pretty price for these. Question 6. When negotiations with Thorin are failing, who does Thranduil say will give Bard a good price for the Arkenstone? I think this is extended edition as well, this bit. When negotiations with Thorin are failing, who does Thranduil say will give Bard a good price for the Arkenstone? Toby Alston says, I was disappointed in the sound design more than the visuals. Should have kept the same sound design from The Lord of the Rings. Yeah, it's just everything just goes digital, doesn't it? All the time. It just loses a lot, I think. Question 7. What does Dain, I am going to call him by his proper name from the book, whether you're a Dane or Dain, potato, tomato. What does Dain call the projectile weapons that the dwarves fire upon the elves to destroy their volley of arrows? So again, this is from the extended edition. So this is question 7. What does Dain call the projectile weapons that the dwarves fire upon the elves to destroy their volley of arrows? Yeah, I bet you can almost hear it in his Billy Connolly voice, can't you? Question 8. Oh, another one of my least favorite additions in these films. What are the names of the creatures that Azog uses to tunnel underground with? So question 8, what are the names of the creatures that Azog uses to tunnel underground with? And doesn't use them to actually destroy the fucking army he's fighting. I've always wanted to know how they get out of those tunnels as well. Because they're clearly ahead of the orcs, right? Because they're the ones tunneling through the earth. So they break out and then they can't go back through the tunnel they've made because the army's directly behind them. If they tunnel downwards, then there's a massive hole that the orcs then can't cross to come out of the tunnels. So where do they go? Where do these creatures go? That is my ultimate question for that bit. I don't know which way they go. Or maybe they could go to I guess they could go to the side, couldn't they? If they all move in sequence and move in the same direction, I guess if they all go one... I don't know. Anyway, tangent. Question 9. What is the name of the street that Bard overhears has been taken by the orcs? There is a little bit of the movie-making behind-the-scenes trivia with this question, if you've seen the appendices. What is the name of the street that Bard overhears has been taken by the orcs? Toby says he had it perfect. Yeah, that always sticks in my mind, but he's so right with that as well. I guess the filmmakers really like Dune. Yeah. Speaking of Dune, are we all excited for Dune Part 2? I believe it's coming out next year, isn't it? 2023? I think it's 2023. Question 10. Oh, I've cut off the question there. My bad. I knew there'd be one error on these pictures. I was doing too well, but we can still read what it says. Question 10. How many orcs does Dain Ironfoot headbutt on the battlefield? That question is question 10. How many orcs does Dain Ironfoot headbutt on the battlefield? I really hate this scene, but see, this is the quality of questions that I have for Battle of the Five Armies, and it doesn't get much better either in Part 2. I was really struggling, guys. Again, you've got a 40-minute scene of they fight, and I had maybe 6 or 7 questions written down. I was like, how do I fill this? And I've actually seen the Hobbit films so little times on DVD since I've had them that I actually didn't know where the chapter breaks was. With Lord of the Rings, I've got them memorized. Fellowship of the Ring, great. Where are we going? Boom. Change to disc 2. Two Towers. Was it this war will make corpses of us all. Bind their hands. insert disc 2. And then you've got Return of the King. You've got Grond. Insert disc 2. Got to memorize. With Hobbit, actually couldn't remember. So going back to Battle of the Five Armies, I was amazed at where they actually ended the story. Okay, so that's that one. Yeah, so that's all of the questions for part 1. I'm going to go back over them very, very quickly. We're not going to do the answers for it just yet. Okay, so going back very rapid fire through the questions for Battle of the Five Armies part 1. Question 1, how many regular arrows do we see Bard fire at Smaug before eventually killing him with a black arrow? Again, I'm not including the black arrow in that total. It's how many regular arrows do we see Bard fire at Smaug before eventually killing him with a black arrow? Question 2, multiple choice. When Bard inquires as to the whereabouts of the Master of Lake Town, Bianca says he is halfway down which river? A. Kelduin, B. Anduin, C. Bruinen, or D. Eisen? Question 3. Where does Azog command Bolg to ride to in order to summon the second Orc army? Question 4. What kingdom does Sauron say will rise again during the attack on Dol Guldur? Question 5. What is the full name of the precious gems that Thranduil desired? That's what is the full name of the precious gems that Thranduil desired? Question 6. When negotiations with Thorin are failing, who does Thranduil say will give Bard a good price for the Arkenstone? That's question 6. When negotiations with Thorin are failing, who does Thranduil say will give Bard a good price for the Arkenstone? Question 7. What does Dain call the projectile weapons that the dwarves fire upon the elves to destroy their volley of arrows? So that's question 7. What does Dain call the projectile weapons that the dwarves fire upon the elves to destroy their volley of arrows? Question 8. What are the names of the creatures that Azog uses to tunnel underground with? So question 8. What are the names of the creatures that Azog uses to tunnel underground with? Question 9. What is the name of the street that Bard overhears has been overtaken by the orcs? So question 9. What is the name of the street that Bard overhears has been taken by the orcs? Gotta love Luke Evans' expression there on that picture as well. That's funny. And question 10 with a very, very nicely cut off question. Question 10, how many orcs does Dain Ironfoot headbutt on the battlefield? That's question 10. How many orcs does Dain Ironfoot headbutt on the battlefield? Tell you what, let's break up the answers for this one. Oh, what am I doing? I'm doing the same again, aren't I? I'm doing the same again. Forget it. I'm going to have to work on this structure, guys. It is late. I've been staring at this computer for over 12 hours. My bad. Let's move on to part 2. But before we move on to part 2, just let me know how you thought that round was. Is it still a challenging round? Are you feeling pretty confident with it? How are we all feeling round 1 into Battle of the Five Armies? I'm always curious. Did Tubbs do right? You did it beautifully, Tubbs. Toby Alston says, that scene with Bilbo and the Acorn and the scene with Thranduil and Gandalf would have made the battle worth it. Yeah, what the fuck? Like, why would they cut those out? I don't mind the idea of Bilbo taking the Acorn back to Bag End, but there should have been a payoff scene. They should have filmed the scene there. But, Peter Jackson was clearly just making stuff up on the day, wasn't he? He'd probably come in and go, hey, I've got a great idea for a scene that we can do with the Acorn. But by that point, they'd probably filmed all of the scenes at the Shire and couldn't go back to that location, couldn't get all the actors back, and they couldn't film one. So, yeah, there's no payoff scene to it. I guess the payoff scene, really, if you can call it that, is the picture in the end credits of Bilbo holding the Acorn. That's it. But yeah, the Thranduil and Gandalf stuff with the gems should absolutely have been in the movie, because that is Thranduil's character arc right there. And they cut it out of the film, but I didn't. I put it in my edit. So if you do want to see those scenes or elements of those scenes, go watch my fan edit. It's in the description of this video. Toby says challenging so far. Good questions. I noticed you added a payoff to your end. I did try to. And the hand that you see, I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do like an editor's commentary for that at some point, actually. I'll probably edit a third version. And then once I've done that, I'll jump on and do like a watch along stream or something like that. That could be fun to do. You guys can sync the edit up at home. We can watch along. I can talk about my process and things like that. Because I haven't really done that. And it's been up on the channel for a year. Well, it's been released for a year, but yeah, the hand that you see holding the acorn at the very end of the film is actually JX Editor's hand. So yeah, that was good. Okay, let's move on then. So final round. This is it. We come to it at last. Oh no, that's a Lord of the Rings quote. Part 2, Battle of the Five Armies, Part 2. About to do the last goodbye, aren't we? So here we go. The Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies, Part 2. We're kicking off with question 11. Total marks for this round is out of 12. 12 points on this round. Okay, question 11. During Thorin's hallucination, who is the last voice he hears before snapping himself out of his dragon sickness? I'll read that again. During Thorin's hallucination, who is the last voice he hears before snapping himself out of his dragon sickness? Is it A, Bilbo's, B, Gandalf's, C, Balin's, or D, himself? Is it A, Bilbo's, B, Gandalf's, C, Balin's, or D, himself? Okay, let's move on. So we've got question 12. How many ogres get decapitated by the scythed chariot wheels? So question 12. How many ogres get decapitated by the scythed chariot wheels? So I'm not talking about all the other menagerie of creatures that may or may not get decapitated during the chase. I'm specifically looking at the ogres. How many get decapitated? And right there, this just exemplifies the quality of question that I had to try and come up with for Battle of the Five Armies. What can you ask during that whole sequence? And it goes on for so long. There's got to be a question there because it's kind of a chapter mark within the film. Yeah, I mean, that's just Battle of the Five Armies for you, isn't it? It's just pure indulgence beginning to end. Question 13. Who are Thorin's 3 best warriors? Gandalf does actually list who his best warriors are. Who are Thorin's 3 best warriors? Now, obviously, I couldn't show them in a picture there because that would give the answer away. Totally pointless seeing the chariot scene. I know a lot of people enjoy it and think it's a really fun sequence. That scene, to me, exemplifies everything that's wrong with the Hobbit films. And also, the whole crux of that scene is totally pointless. You have Thorin who says, Dain says, and how do you plan to fight your way single-handed to Ravenhill? Chariot rocks up, and you're expecting the chariot to lead the way and kind of clear a path for Thorin. But no, Thorin just kind of rides off on his own, doesn't he? And gets himself to where he needs to be on his own accord anyway, so it's just totally pointless. Anyway, let's move on. Question 14. Where does Azog lay his final trap for Thorin? Question 14. Where does Azog lay his final trap for Thorin? Okay, we're almost there, guys. Question 15. Complete the quote. Oh, this is absolutely beautiful, this one. It's one of my favourite lines, actually. It's paraphrased from the book, but it's very close. If more people valued blank above gold, this world would be a merrier place. Question 15. Complete the quote. If more people valued blank above gold, this world would be a merrier place. It's going back to the chariot scene. Toby says that chariot scene was great, just needed trimming down, too much nonsense. But yeah, actually, it was slightly pointless now thinking about it. Originally with my edit, I did split it as 2 separate films, and I did have the chariot scene in there, and I did cut it down. But when I realized that it was actually totally pointless, I decided to get rid. That's why you don't see it in my edit. Question 16. Who does Thranduil send Legolas to find after the battle is over? And this is one of my least favourite scenes out of all 3 of these films. And when I was watching it again, my eyes rolled back into my skull. Question 16. Who does Thranduil send Legolas to find after the battle is over? It's a pretty blatant one, that, I think. So you guys should get that one, I think. Question 17. When Bilbo says his goodbyes to the dwarves, what time does he say tea is at if they are ever passing Bag End? So question 17. When Bilbo says his goodbyes to the dwarves, what time does he say tea is at if they are ever passing Bag End? Really nice scene, that, actually. And if the films had more moments like that, and it was more about that, then these films would have been something special, I think. Here's the thing, like, they do have some special scenes. They do have some really good scenes in there, but it's just so mired by everything else. It's a shame. Question 18. What does Bilbo catch Lobelia Sackville Baggins trying to take during the auction of his property? Question 18. What does Bilbo catch Lobelia Sackville Baggins trying to take during the auction of his property? I think, did I say of his party? Of his property. Now, I know she's carrying a lot of stuff at this point, but there's one thing in particular that Bilbo draws reference to. So I'm looking for that item, or those items. Question 19. How many months does Tosser Grubb say it has been since Bilbo Baggins disappeared? That's not a very nice name to call him, is it, Tosser? Anyway, question 19. How many months does Tosser Grubb say it has been since Bilbo Baggins disappeared? And question 20. This is the final question. I think it's a nice one, actually. What is the final line sang by Billy Boyd during the last goodbye end credit song? Question 20. What is the final line sang by Billy Boyd during the last goodbye end credit song? And a very fitting image as well, I think, to finish that off. We couldn't have wished for a better Bilbo with Ian Holm. We really couldn't. Hey, he's finally decided to join us. I wondered when you would. He says, am I late? Late is the hour in which this conjurer chooses to appear. You are a little bit. We have finished. So I'm going to go back over the questions, actually, for this round. But yeah, we're at the end, I'm afraid. So you're just going to have to go back and watch the video. It's incentive. Toby Alston says, tea arrives precisely when it means to. Okay, let's go back over the questions for Battle of the Five Armies Part 2. And then I'll go over the answers for both of the rounds. Okay, here we go. So quickly recapping, question 11. During Thorin's hallucination, who is the last voice he hears before snapping himself out of his dragon sickness? Is it A, Bilbo's, B, Gandalf's, C, Balin's, or D, himself? Question 12. How many ogres get decapitated by the scythed chariot wheels? That's question 12. How many ogres tongue twister. Question 12. How many ogres get decapitated by the scythed chariot wheels? I can't talk tonight. Question 13. Who are Thorin's 3 best warriors? And I should mention you get a point as well for each of those. Which now I actually need to make sure that I've added up the points for this correctly. So I'll give you the next one again. Where does Azog lay his final trap for Thorin? Let me just add these up real quick. Oh, guys, I might have actually added these up wrong. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, I'll do the next one as well for you. Complete the quote. If more people valued blank above gold, this world would be a merrier place. Oh yeah, I think I fucked up. I think I fucked up on this. Hang on, I'm going to add it up again. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, next one. Question 16. Who does Thranduil send Legolas to find after the battle is over? Question 16. Who does Thranduil send Legolas to find after the battle is over? Okay, and the next one. When Bilbo says his goodbyes to the dwarves, what time does he say tea is at if they are ever passing Bag End? When Bilbo says his goodbyes to the dwarves, what time does he say tea is at if they are ever passing Bag End? Yeah, I messed up, unfortunately, guys. I messed up. It's out of 11 marks on this. 11 marks. I'll double check it. I'm pretty sure. Question 18. What does Bilbo catch Lobelia Sackville Baggins trying to take during the auction of his property? It's question 18. What does Bilbo catch Lobelia Sackville Baggins trying to take during the auction of his property? Question 19. How many months does Tosser Grubb say it has been since Bilbo Baggins disappeared? Question 19. How many months does Tosser Grubb say it has been since Bilbo Baggins disappeared? And finally, question 20. Really nice one, I think, to finish. What is the final line sang by Billy Boyd during the last goodbye end credit song? It's question 20. What is the final line sang by Billy Boyd during the last goodbye end credit song? Okay, I'm just adding the points up again. My brain is fried, guys, so just bear with me. No, it is out of 12. Sorry, I was right. It is out of 12. So that second round. So Battle of the Five Armies Part 1 is out a total of 10 marks. And Part 2 is out of 12. Okay, so let's go through the question. Let's go through the answers then. Let's just rapid fire. And then, yeah, we can add it up and we will have a winner maybe. But I do have a leaderboard to bring up as well at the end, just for a bit of fun. Okay, so going back to the Battle of the Five Armies Part 1. Question 1 was how many regular arrows do we see Bard fire at Smaug before eventually killing him with a black arrow? And the answer to that is 4. We see him fire 4 shots with a regular arrow, running out, and then obviously he kills him with the black arrow. But he fires 4 regular arrows. Question 2 was multiple choice. When Bard inquires as to the whereabouts of the Master of Lake Town, Bianca says he is halfway down which river? Is it A. Kelduin, B. Anduin, C. Bruinen, and D. Eisen? Well, I have my own thoughts on this, but the actual answer from the film is B. Anduin. How that... I mean, she's exaggerated. You have to take that as an exaggeration. Like, oh, yeah, he's halfway down the Anduin. Like, oh, he's a world away. Because the Anduin is sort of like in the middle of Middle Earth. Like, he would have had to have walked over hundreds of miles of land to get to the Anduin. The Kelduin would be a lot more believable. And actually, that was a change that I tried to do in my edit, but unfortunately, I couldn't find a voice actress that could match Bianca. So I've still kept that as Anduin in my movie, but I did want to change it to Kelduin. Question 3. Where does Azog command Bolg to ride to in order to summon the second Orc army? And the answer to that is Gundabadul. It's Gundabad. If you guys have written Mount Gundabad, I will still accept it. That's absolutely fine. Question 4. What kingdom does Sauron say will rise again during the attack on Dol Guldur? And it's the Kingdom of Angmar. Question 5. What is the full name of the precious gems that Thranduil desired? And it is the White Gems of Lascalen. So the White Gems of Lascalen. Question 6. I didn't say his name when he appeared in the chat just a second ago, but it is going to be the same. When negotiations with Thorin are failing, who does Thranduil say will give Bard a good price for the Arkenstone? And the answer is Ecthelion of Gondor. So I will also accept just Ecthelion. I will accept Ecthelion II, or Ecthelion of Gondor. Yeah. Question 7. What does Dain call the projectile weapons that the dwarves fire upon the elves to destroy their volley of arrows? They're the twirly whirlies. I can't do Scottish. When I watched that scene again, I just rolled my fucking eyes. I was like, this is straight from the page of Tolkien, isn't it? Twirly fucking whirlies. But there you go. Question 8. What are the names of the creatures that Azog uses to tunnel underground with? And the answers are wereworms. I will also accept worms of Arrakis. No, I'm kidding. It's wereworms. Wereworms, werewolf, however you want to say it. Question 9. What is the name of the street that Bard overhears has been taken by the orcs? And the answer is Stone Street. And I think that Stone Street was like a place on the filming lot in the studio, I think, was Stone Street, if I remember rightly. And they brought it into the movie. I swear that's in the appendices. I think it's something to do with that. And question 10 was, how many orcs does Dain Ironfoot headbutt on the battlefield? And the answer is 6. As if doing it once wasn't bad enough in the film, they repeat it 6 times. It's a very weird scene because the music's really sad. You're meant to be feeling sad that all hope is lost. And this goofy fucking thing's happening with Dain absolutely bodying these armored orcs that have been bred for war by headbutting them. Not a fan. Not a fan. Okay, so that is out of 10. Let me know how you've done for points on that, and then I will move on to the points for part 2. And we'll see if we have a winner. Toby Alston says that Pippin has the voice of an angel. He really does. He's a very good singer. Okay, so 10 points for that one, for that round. Let me know how you've done. Oh God. It is 20 past midnight. I just want to say thank you to everyone that's tuned in tonight as well and continue to watch along. I do always appreciate you guys and, for coming up to almost 2.5 hours of your time tonight on a Friday evening to watch this. Chelsea says, Christ, Chris, you were right when you said you don't half-ass these questions. You damn right. I promised you guys a hard Hobbit quiz, and I like to think that I delivered. Adam Lodge, 5 out of 10. Halfway there, my friend. So it's good. Good points all across the board, honestly. We haven't done the points yet for round 2, for Battle of the Five Armies Part 2. So you could pull it back, Adam. You could pull it back. You've done very well. Points. Is that all we're getting? Come on, Toby. I know you're still playing. Lord Oakenshield, do we have any points from you, my friend, out of 10? If not, I'll just move on. I'll give you 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's move on then. Let's just crack on with the points. Battle of the Five Armies Part 2. Okay, here we go with the answers to these questions. Question 11. During Thorin's hallucination, who is the last voice he hears before snapping himself out of his dragon sickness? Multiple choice on this one. Was it A. Bilbo's, B. Gandalf's, C. Balin's, or D. himself? And it is himself. I am not my grandfather. That's the last words we hear before he snaps himself out of it. Oh, do we have Toby, 9 out of 10 on that previous round. That's incredible. Well done. Well done. Okay, question 12. How many ogres get decapitated by the scythed chariot wheels? And the answer is, once again, like the headbutting, it's 6. All 6 ogres, in perfect synchronicity, get decapitated all at the same time in total Peter Jackson excess. What is it with multiple decapitations in this film? One of the questions I was going to ask is how many orcs get decapitated on the antlers of Thranduil's elk? There's a lot of decapitations in this movie. Okay, question 13. Who are Thorin's 3 best warriors? And you get a point per dwarf for this. And the answer is Fili, Kili, and Dwalin. He's taking his best warriors. To do what? To cut the head off the snake. So Fili, Kili, and Dwalin were your 3 dwarves for that. Give yourself a point for each one you got correct. Question 14. Where does Azog lay his final trap for Thorin? And the answer I was looking for is Ravenhill. Question 15. Complete the quote. If more people valued blank above gold, this world would be a merrier place. And of course, the answer is, if more people valued home above gold, this world would be a merrier place. And unfortunately, the line that they cut out from the well, I think the book's different. I think it's if more people valued like good food and cheer and song above hoarded gold, I think it is, this world would be a merrier place. But sad or merry, I must leave it now. Farewell. And it's just, brilliant. It's one of my favorite Tolkien quotes. Question 16. Who does Thranduil send Legolas to find after the battle is over? And the answer is Strider. Of course, I will also accept Aragorn. Yeah, you know the deal. That is one of the most cringe-inducing scenes, I think, out of the whole trilogy. It's the fact, look, if you want to do an Aragorn reference, just say Aragorn. It's just that they try so hard. They dance around the houses so much and it builds. It's like this dig in the ribs. Yeah. Find the Dunedain. There is a ranger amongst their ranks. You must meet him. His father, Arathorn, was a great man. His true name you must discover for yourself. And even the soundtrack's like, I'm like, fuck you. Anyway, question 17. I love Viggo Mortensen's response to that as well. He was asked to cameo in the film, and he was like, no, because he's not in The Hobbit. Anyway, question 17. When Bilbo says his goodbyes to the dwarves, what time does he say tea is at if they are ever passing Bag End? And the answer is 4. If any of you are ever passing Bag End, tea is at 4. There's plenty of it. You are welcome anytime. And, we're all crying. Question 18. What does Bilbo catch Lobelia Sackville Baggins trying to take during the auction of his property? The answer is spoons. His silver spoons. So silver spoons, silverware. I'll accept that as well. But he does specifically say spoons. Question 19. How many months does Tosser Grubb say it has been since Bilbo Baggins disappeared? And the answer is 13. He technically in the movie does say it's been more than 13 months it has been more than 13 months since the disappearance, but I'm assuming it's like 13 months and some change. So 13 is the answer I'm looking for. And nice little question to finish on. What is the final line sang by Billy Boyd during the last goodbye end credit song? And I did give you a little bit of a clue here with Ian Holm, the character in the background, because it is actually a line spoken by Ian Holm's character in The Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. It's I bid you all a very fond farewell, which was strategically picked to be the last question because, of course, I will be bidding you all a very fond farewell very shortly. Out of 12 marks that round there. So adding your points up. Add your points up for that round and then grab a calculator if you're great at maths. Add it all up together because the total points are out of 84, I believe. I think it's 84. Let me just see. Yes, 84. I'll bring that up in just a second. That was a quick sneak peek. Adam Lodge, first number on the board right there. 9 out of 12 for that second round. Fantastic score. Really, really well done. Clearly, I didn't make this quiz hard enough tonight, did I? I was looking for like 1s and 2s and 3s. You guys have been absolutely knocking it out of the park with full marks and 10s out of 12s and 9s out of 12s. It's really good stuff. So well done. Toby Alston says Philippa Boynes admitted that the Strider scene. Toby Alston said Philippa Boynes admitted that the Strider scene was written as fan fiction on the behind the scenes features. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. And Toby also says, don't know if I should be proud or ashamed. Thranduil is fantastic despite the weak characterization. Lee Pace absolutely kills it. Like, he is fantastic. And I know that Thranduil in the movie is so totally different to how Thranduil is in the book. He's a lot more vilified. He's kind of a lot more one note and just kind of menacing and evil. But I think it works for the movie. I really do. And yeah, as I say, Lee Pace is just fantastic as Thranduil. Chelsea says 6 out of 12. Not bad considering I haven't seen/read them for ages and I'm very tipsy. Yeah, no, that's incredible. Yeah, halfway there. Well done. Toby got 10 out of 12. Oh, guys, this is going to be really close tonight, genuinely. And I'm not just saying that to drum up drama. From what I've heard from all of your scores so far, it's going to be down to the wire. Lord Oakenshield seems to have disappeared, so we'll power on. I'm sure he'll let me know how he did at some other point. Add all of your points up together now. So you've done them for each round. Add them all up together. It should be out of 84. So I'll give you guys a little bit of extra time on that. In the meantime, I'll do the housekeeping now just to nip it in the bud. If you've enjoyed this quiz and want to see more of these quizzes, please do consider subscribing to the channel for more movie reviews, discussions, live streams like this. I know that I've been kind of hit and miss with uploads this year. I'm a very busy guy in my day-to-day, so I always stream when I can. But I do enjoy it, and the streaming is something that I want to continue. I'm not going anywhere. Like, even if I go quiet for a bit, I will always keep coming here and streaming, so don't worry about that. And obviously follow me on Twitter as well, at Hobbit Fan Editor. I'll post all updates there. If you have enjoyed this quiz, please do hit the like button, share it as well, spread the word, because I am wanting to grow this community out. Within, how long have I been doing this channel for? About 6 months. We're already at over 400 subscribers, which is fantastic. And I know that, some might argue, oh, well, it's not over 1,000, 400 isn't that big a number. If I were to take a room and fill it with over 400 people, that's a lot of fucking people. So thank you to everyone that's, subscribed this year. We're rebuilding. Some of you guys have been there since the beginning when I was on my previous channel, and have followed me from there to here. Some of you have just discovered me through this channel, but thank you to everyone that's joined me. I'll do the preamble at the end because, as I say, this will be my last video of 2022. Okay, we're getting scores on the doors. So Adam says he's got 59 out of 84. Toby says that he joined late, so I doubt I made enough to make the top. Oh, well, you can always go back in your own time and, do the unexpected journey rounds or desolation whenever it was you came onto it. Play it in your own time at your leisure. And then give me an updated score, because I do want to hear from you guys. Let me know, let's keep it going. I always reply to you guys' comments, and you're the reason I still do the streaming. That I know that there's an audience there and we can have a conversation like this tonight. It's great. Love it. Okay, so you guys are adding your overall totals up on the screen right now. You should see final count. So we've got a little bit of a leaderboard. It's just fun. Assign yourself a number that you've got. If you got between 0, well, hopefully none of you got 0. I don't think any of you did. If you got between 0 and 20 correct, you are a witless worm. 21 to 40, you are tyrannical. 41 to 60, you are stupendous. 61 to 80, you are the chiefest and greatest of calamities. And if anyone managed to get between 81 and 84, you are the king under the mountain. So, yeah, I'm going to leave that up on screen and compare your score. Let me know. Fire it out. So 59 out of 84. Adam, you are... you almost made it. You almost made it to chiefest and greatest of calamities, but you are stupendous, which is still good. That's still praise. You are stupendous. This was a very, very tough quiz. 59 out of 84 is a very respectable score, my friend. So well done. He's very glad that he's not a witless worm. I don't think we're going to have any witless worms tonight, actually. So it's good. Chelsea says that she's been dipping in and out, so not sure I've got enough. Once again, if you feel so inclined, you can play this in your own time and come up with an updated score. Toby says that he came in the second half of Desolation, but yeah, loved the quizzes. Well, I'm going to keep that on screen for a bit. Be interested to hear some other scores. I think some people have probably fallen asleep maybe or tuned out of it. But hopefully I hear back from Lord Oakenshield and he can give me an updated score at some point. But there we go. That's final count. Okay, so let me take that off the screen real quick, and we'll round off the stream tonight because we're coming up to 2.5 hours. Oh, that's got a ring to it. Tobias the Tyrannical. Yeah, you were meant to get Tyrannical tonight. You were meant to get that. I love that. Yeah, so now I'm going to hand over to you guys, and you don't have to message now. You can leave a comment after this video said and done. But I want to hear from you. We've kind of done Lord of the Rings now for the time being, and I'm not ruling out book questions. I'm predominantly a movie and TV show channel, but if you guys want me to delve into the books at some point, it would be a lot of research, and of course I'd have to reread the book in order to get questions for each chapter. So maybe we'll come back to Middle-earth at some point for a Silmarillion quiz or a Hobbit book quiz or a Lord of the Rings book quiz. But I think for now, that's kind of it for the Middle-earth stuff and within the TV and film realm, because I'm not doing Rings of Power. Not yet, anyway. Not unless I'm dead, dying, or desperate. So which quizzes would you like to see featured next? which other big film franchises, big trilogies. Some of you guys have already mentioned some already, but yeah, I want to hear what you guys want to say. I think the next one, maybe I might do Star Wars. I don't know if there's an audience for that. You've got the prequel trilogy, of course, the original trilogy, the sequel trilogy. So we've got 3 lots of quizzes right there for that, just there and then. You've got Indiana Jones. There's Pirates of the Caribbean. Let's see what else we've got. Back to the Future. Christ, Rocky. Rocky'd be a brilliant one to do. I'd love to do the Rocky films. Karate Kid. There's lots out there that we could do quizzes for. The James Bond franchise. Marvel would be a bit of a tough ask, I think. There's a lot of Marvel movies. Star Wars seems to be a popular one at the moment. Chelsea says Star Wars, hands down. Toby says Clone Wars. I've watched bits of Clone Wars. I've never watched the whole thing. Again, that would be a lot of viewing time to try and get all that done. Chelsea says, would love a Karate Kid one. Of course, after that, maybe I could do a Cobra Kai one. The sky's really the limit with these quizzes. Now, they are time-consuming. I have been sat at this computer for for more than 12 hours now. Almost 14 hours. I need a food break, and I probably need to go on a walk. But yeah, as I said, I was debating whether to do this today. I'm very glad that I did. I'm very glad that I did, because I'm not going to be around. Usually I do kind of like a New Year's Eve stream, but yeah, unfortunately I'm going to be missing that because I am AWOL for New Year's Eve. But hopefully you guys are celebrating New Year's Eve if you decide to do that, maybe having a quiet one in. However you decide to spend New Year's Eve, please have a very safe one, a very sensible one, but do have fun as well. But yeah, I'm hoping to see all you guys in 2023. I've got a lot of things planned for the channel. I know sometimes I promise some reviews and can't always deliver because I am doing this in my free time. But I've got some big retrospectives planned for next year. I'm not going to give it away just yet. I'll tease it later on because it's towards the back end of next year. But I've got plans for the channel. I have got plans for the channel. And the quizzes aren't going anywhere. I love doing these, genuinely. I love doing these, and I hope you guys get that across on camera as well. I don't put anything on for the camera. Like, this is all me. This is my I love this shit. You know I do. So, and there's plenty of other films that I love as well, not just Lord of the Rings. Which I'm sure we can do. One thing that I'd love to do for the channel as well, at some point, I don't know whether I'd be finding like a regular co-host to help me with these, or if, although that hasn't gone well in the past, has it, ultimately, or whether I'd still be doing these on my own. But horror films, going through horror film franchises, the good and the bad. There's a lot of horror films out there that I might have only seen 1 or 2 films of in a given franchise, and I want to broaden my horror film horizons and watch some of those really bad sequels as well. That's an idea I've got maybe for next year at some point for some retrospectives. I don't want to turn this into predominantly a horror channel, but it would be nice to do some of those franchises. There's some animated ones I want to do as well, and maybe some director retrospectives, because I need to get back into the swing of things of watching new films. And by new films, I mean films that are probably old, but I just haven't watched yet. And of course, more recently, though, within the next couple of months, up until like the month of, March or April, it's going to be the Oscars. It's going to be the Academy Awards. A lot of great films being nominated this year by the looks of it. I have been following which ones are the bookies' favourite and everything. And there's a lot that I really want to check out, including Brendan Fraser's new film, his comeback film, the Darren Aronofsky film, The Whale, which I think will be incredible. So there's going to be that one. Hundreds of films I'm going to have to watch over the Oscar period, and I'll probably do an Oscars live stream as well, because why not? There's a lot of stuff happening with the channel, so do hit that subscribe button and follow me on Twitter. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Chelsea says maybe a Stranger Things quiz. Adam says, thanks so much for all the effort you put into this. It's more appreciated than you might think. Oh, thanks, man. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it, and yeah, I'm glad people get something from it. Just makes your Friday night, if you've got nothing going on, gives you something to do, doesn't it? And I love talking about Middle-earth. It's my happy place. When things get dark or things get intense, Tolkien's always there, and I always come back to it. So, yeah. And I am now surrounded by Tolkien, as you can see, which has been a wonderful year of collecting for me. You can kind of see some of them in the window there. Actually, that's another video. I've got a sword right there. that I haven't done an unboxing for. I've been sat on that sword. Well, not literally sat on that sword. Jesus Christ, that'll be painful. Oh, poor choice of words. But I've got one there that I haven't done an unboxing for. I've had it for about 2 months. I did tease an unboxing video when I got it, but unfortunately I just haven't had time for it. So yeah, I guess the next Tolkien video will probably be an unboxing of that sword. And then hopefully, funds permitting, in the new year, I'll be buying another one as well from the same seller that sold me that one. So the unboxing videos will still come, the United Cutlery things that I collect. I am now pretty much out of wall space, so I don't know what I'm going to do with those swords. Anyway, I'm rambling, but yes, and Happy New Year to you, my friend. Happy New Year to you all. And I'll probably post a message on Twitter wishing you all a Happy New Year anyway. But in terms of being on camera, this is it for me for 2022. 2023 is on the way, and I think it's going to be a good year. I really do. And certainly, fingers crossed, let's hope it's a better year for film, because 2022 has been fucking diabolical. And on that bombshell, thank you to everyone that's tuned in tonight, and I will catch you on the flip side. See you, everyone.